here. Mute the microphone and turn the camera off. No, I won't. This hangout airs on live. Right. There we go. All right. Third time's a charm, always. So, back to the story. It was about 6 months ago that I came up with this saying, just like this, poof. And it was blow me sideways. And I take my hand and I always go to the side, right? So today, my first client this morning brings me this shirt. I mean, how fucking cool. Blow me sideways. I was like, you're kidding. Because that is going to go so well with the subject I have to talk to y'all about tonight, which is very important in the game. I mean, it's big. So anyhow, as these shirts develop, I promise you, I mean, we won't have to cut them all up, but God love the girl that made it. She brought me one of those nice high neck shirts, like a proper person wears. And I'm all about the V-neck, man. So I cut my shirt up and put it on and said, I'm ready to rock and roll with the king of Lord knows what. So we're playing a game. And as you can see, I've got a spinning chair. So I'll be able to get pretty interactive with this. Facebook looks good. We're good. So we're going to do a real quick recap. On day one, play the game with us. We identified, oh my goodness, 30 different tag words that were very important because all of this comes in coded message. You don't go to your messenger and put something up and expect that everybody's spying on you and knowing what you're talking about. So you see what happened to me over a year ago. Since I was a part of a sacrifice that was going to be had, they said, oh shit, we got caught. So we're going to start telling the story in code. Now, in the meantime, let's all remember that my grandfather on my mother's side, Addison V. Mitchell, was the head secretary. And don't make jokes about that. Men can do great code breaking work. My grandpa was too old to kill anybody in World War II. He was inducted in 1941. Oh, yeah. So anyhow, since he was too old to kill anybody, keeping that in mind, he had secretarial skills, typing, shorthand, beautiful penmanship. So he wound up being the right-hand man, literally, of all the generals and commanders and, big boys that were there in the 85th Infantry. So my grandfather was the managing assisting editor of the Custer Combateer, and he was a code breaker. I always know I talk about my dad, the cop, or say, that glass cock that was murdered by Philip Alston during the Revolutionary War, or the glass cocks in the land patent, or whatever. I mean, I have a long lineage of this stuff. And then people say, well, how did you come to do that, Suze? Okay, that person's not awake. But anyhow, let's go over those 30 for everybody. Just going to read them in order. This town is an encore. You give me fever candy. Moonbeam. The truth would have been much more expedient. Sensational statues. Top shelf. Best view. Great sound system. Signed copy of Hamlet to Lucy. I'm Lucifer Morningstar and I can play the piano. Radishes equals you look ravishing. Had to get your glitter on. Bluffing and lying are two different things. Compartmentalizing. High roller or dead meat. Crack that safe. Not avoiding. Lying. Protecting. Not jealous, just a friend. Killer club. Musical chair rights by deed possession. Who could have known? Flush killer. Trump deed. Luck be a lady tonight. Vegas, experience, great holes, shrinks, and walls. Hey, I've got a real life experience going on that I will document tomorrow. I've already been documenting it, but I didn't have time to do it today. That will suit that one. So I'll give you guys a bonus point for anybody that's watching. If you go ahead and write down that last one, it's number 25. Number 25 is actually the day I was born. So I'm going to tag that and say confirmation of spirit. I like it. Experience, great holes, shrinks, and walls. And when we do the show, I will tell the story. See, of course, what this list came from was the TV show Lucifer. And it was exactly in line with what's been going on. And I've been watching it for a while, telling people that I can't talk to them or, see them at 7 o'clock on Mondays because I'm watching Lucifer. I'm in school. And it's highly accurate. And it actually, from my experience and what I've been going through, I can say that I totally get the coded message they're sending. It's not whether a show is full of shit or not. It's whether you can break the code. So quit blaming the show. Okay. Next one. A killer bartender. No tip for you. Truth, bluffs, and never doing love. Never doing love. Never doing, the person that loves you never wants to bluff you, but it's hard to tell you the truth too. So that's what that one is. Next one is understanding the Assyrian anti-wall. And what we want to do is we want to understand the Assyrian anti-wall. See, my buddy Savan, now he'll tell you this. So if you understand something, you are standing under the concept and saying, yes, I agree. I believe the same thing. I understand that. Wrong answer, man. You want to understand it. You want to hold it right here in your heart brain and completely have a grasp on what the fuck the words are that's coming out of that person's mouth, no matter how deep or how shallow. And then that's how we can help people heal. But, of course, if you were like our special guest tonight that will be hanging out and hearing his coded message, now see, he would tell you that even though he's a boof, that he overstands things. He's never used that big word. He doesn't know it. Lawyers don't know words like that. But I think we should just get on with it, man. All right. So these are very key. And what we did in the first show, myself, because see, I'm really the only one that can make the rules to the game. And I don't mean any disrespect. It's just, this is the assignment I've been given. So I tagged times during Randy Morgan's video where that was my second interview from Randy, and Randy was my first and only interview. And then they tried to sacrifice me and bury me so deep I'd never get up. And I went through this series of events, and I like to catch bad guys on the computer. So when you ask me why I don't answer your emojis, I'm just a little too busy right now. It's just not going to fly. Okay, so that's what these are. And these words are the same as these, but I just got it more organized. Okay. Last night on the game, well, we had a lot going on for real. And we made it through most of it. And then I was going to start showing our game pieces, which are actually the cards that are the pictures that come off the iPhone, right? And they're in my photo albums. So you have to be my friend to get in my photo albums, you see. And don't get me wrong, I want everybody to play the game with us. But it's not really like I want some shit turd coming in and messing with the cards, let's say. So everything will be organized in great detail. But, this is early on in the game and we don't have much time. So I'm moving fast. And when you go into my photo albums, or if you went to my page, you would be able to see that I did a run of about 200 comments where what I was doing was numbering these pieces. So when you start looking at them, if you see that I have repeated a number, like say I shared one thing 4 times and it was from High Times magazine and it was on hemp. Now I know by heart that that's number 75 because I had to type it in 4 times and I had to backtrack to double check. And there's a lot going on. So I can't say it's perfect. Now, we are going to have a major deck of cards to work with, covering all subjects and categories because you can't just cover one now, can you? If you're trying to put together a full house or a straight flush or whatever. See, I don't like to play games that I don't have a fighting chance at. And when I say a fighting chance, I'm not putting up my dukes. I'm talking about something that isn't a stacked deck against me. Those are way two different things, aren't they, friends? So, anyhow, it was really cold in St. Louis yesterday. Water pipes burst outside. And I thought, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream. I mean, we still went an hour and a half. But sometimes I put a little too much into shows, and most people listen to about 10 minutes or whatever from the standards where people's focus is able to be right now. But that's not going to be for much longer. And so when people need to go back and look at it'd all be nice and neat. But I had started the process of actually writing down which one of we're calling it our bank of trauma residues. So there is a bank and it's the collective trauma. Okay. And so the first 3 are not any kind of mind control programs. And so these are lettered A through I. And like I said, I got that started and then, the water explosion outside and I had to work this morning. Okay, now here's what we're doing today. You're going to love this. I mean, okay. So this morning, here we go with the never ending story in code from hell. You see what I mean? On in the morning. And it's a good thing I'm always on, seeing what's up, man. So I cruised over there and I like to get the screenshots because they're talking code too and they think they're so slick. So what we're going to do is we're going to expose their code, which is fucking hilarious because then they have to recode everything. And it's always the same story. If you give somebody enough rope, they will hang themselves. And dude's been hanging himself for months, but at the same time, he's too big of a pussy to do it. So he's kind of like, tippy-toeing on the chair, acting like he's going to do it. And This is problematic because anytime that you're involved with a group of other people that are easily manipulated or manipulating others, and they have no respect for life, is they do their little dance and their junior wizardry. Well, see here again. It's sad when somebody gets caught holding the bag. And it's even sadder when people, just because I'm not in the little group and I didn't go through the bullshit, well, they say, okay, we'll play the game with you, shithead. And they have to figure out. And I get it why people would feel bad. I mean, but here again, I'm not out to get anybody. Shut up. I'm out to make it right. So that's why I play the game. Actually, I play the game so I could stay alive. Let's be honest. For me, forever. And the people in the know it. So when you try to sacrifice a little pumpkin like me with no face, and she's nice and isn't hurting anybody and is trying to leave messages for her grandchildren, business of 30 years back up. See, somebody might listen to that story. So in our coded message tonight, going to be using names and acting like it's something else, and he's going to be dancing his dance. But it all makes perfect sense to me. So here's what I did. These are our timestamps because, you know, a lot of people think that only people that are into them will invest that amount of time. And this has been my nemesis the whole time because he directly shit on me. And I don't like that. I just don't approve. You know, I always say it offends my spirit. But of course, I would stand up for anyone that was shit upon. My buddy Peter Eugene in the audience. He'll confirm spirit and witness to that very fact. Him when CCN and Mel and Biggie were shitting all over him. Ask him sometime. So we've got these time breakdowns. And I didn't want you guys to have any dead airspace or any evil music or any blow in the nose or any waste in time because nobody's got time to waste. And I know I'm overwinded. So, and here's what I'm going to do. Okay. We have a big yellow piece of paper here. Let me hold that up. Okay, can you guys, sure you can see it. All right. Now, these are some of the code names that are being used. You do this kind of work. So what I am giving people is my take on how to and how to collect information. So these are the names that I was able to get. And when we go through the video again, since I don't have to be worried about getting time and doing all my little things and jumping around, see what I'll be doing is writing extra names in here. But if you have a pencil and a piece of paper, you may want to jot down these names because you will need them in the game. The first one we want is cause, and that would be CAUSE, cause, playing females. You know, gals that are just out to get something. Is magic gate. After that, write down magical gathering. Zoe Quinn. Now, I can't say about any of the spellings of these alleged defining names, terms, and definitions. So don't ask me how to spell it. It's not that serious because these are fakes. Is see if we can figure out who's who in their never ending story of pain. Next one is Gamergate. Stabilize platform. Here, wait, let me hide my face. Unsleeved media. I already bet I know who that is, huh? Edgeboard. And I know that you think you know, but maybe you don't know yet. So stay and play the game with us. Jeremy. Cosplayer. See up here, it's cosplaying females. Because everybody in these chats codes too. So it's important. And I would say the difference between a cosplayer and a cosplaying female would be what, friends? This one isn't female. Hey, I didn't even go to college and I know this stuff. All right, next up. Wizards of the Coast. Dave. Outrageous players. Liz of Koosh. And you know, I don't have this one written down, but there's the craziest one like Zargon of God or something. But don't write that one down because I don't have it written down and I might have said it wrong. Okay, so these are our names. Our names, we got our times. And then, okay. We also have these names, which will wind up being combined. You know, all the names will be combined together. But we have Lucifer, Maze, Metatron, and Candy. We still have a few more names we do need to pull. Okay, so back to my story of what I was doing. I was doing my work, my purpose. I want a safe world. I want my grandchildren to have a decent life. I want your children to have a decent life. The psychopath test must be administered to all people that hold places level, everyone that holds license, everyone that runs a business, every corporation, LLC. You get the idea. And even if you're one of the top, dirtiest families going, I promise you, I already know there is one righteous person at least in every family that will take over that position. You get it? This is a test the government's had over 50 years. I was talking to my client about it tonight that does real estate auditing for the IRS. And she's a wealth of information. We're very good friends. And so in the end, you see, she used to work in this group of very skilled workers that has went from 19 people in that group to 5. There's a lot going on, a lot shaking out. But she knows that she's been given that test because she's worked for the government at different levels over the years. And this is a woman that has also ran a bank. See, my people come with credentials. So anyhow, we had a nice conversation, right? And of course, I had to cut my shirt up. And so I was upstairs getting ready. And you know what I had to listen to? I mean, I love Courtney Brown. And he just came out with his brand new remote viewing thing. And guess what the title is? War in the Heavens. Write that one down too. And I'll tell you what, these young people that are doing this work, I mean, it's only 22 minutes of your life, okay, to check it out. I'm not going to tell you about it and perform like a flippin' monkey. So if you got any sense, go check out what he just published today and play the game with us. It's important, you know. Okay, so I was watching that. And then, oh, did I mention that if you watch it and later on that that comes up, because I'm developing a point system, but you know, it takes a minute, right? So if you watch the Courtney Brown thing and you could have a halfway intelligent conversation with me from your heart brain, I'll give you 10 points. How about that? And then here's your next 10-point opportunity. Okay, so I come downstairs and Joe's watching a movie on TV. And you know, we don't have cable and satellite, and we don't watch that one that makes your brain melt. Hulu. We watch old school TV, you know, like local channels. But you know, it's pretty incredible. Like Mr. Computer Head has friends all over the globe and the universe. And lately, the programming on regular TV has been pretty good. So there was a movie on. You can find this anywhere. It's called The One. And it is a multiverse agent kind of a storyline. Got the martial arts in it. Really a good movie. So I said, okay, man, I'm going to sit down and watch this with you for a while and get something to eat and make my poster boards. Because, see, all of this takes time and dedication. So I'm willing to never quit. I'll tell you that. So hung out, watched it, and I was like, hey, for real, it matches. I completely understand it. I mean, that's a blessing. And it's also a confirmation of spirit. And you can tag, which means that you connect the dots. Okay. So I have given you the opportunity to earn 20 points. And this is going to be the biggest fucking game in the universe. So play and play well. Play nice. Okay. So let me tell you how this is going to go. I am live streaming, which means I'm on YouTube right now, live. And when I hit another tab, hey, tell me I'm behind the screen. Do you want to leave this site? New live stream today. Okay, so we're gonna go like that. And see, this is crazy. So you gotta, oh fuck. You gotta be kidding, man. See, I was computer illiterate when I started too. So, you know, it was like a bunch of people with pitchforks. Killer, we don't understand her. See, there I am. And some people saying, no, man, she's a fucking, you know, she's down with, you know, whoever that I don't even know. And then some people actually thought I was an artificial intelligence, which is a fucking joke. When you live somewhere your whole life in a given town, There's oodles and gobs of people that's known me from when I was a little girl all the way up to this frisky age upcoming of 54. Hey, I see my buddy Bill Russell is here. You know what, Bill? William, I just dig you. But anyhow, I knew from the time I had Ian in 2000 that by the time I was 54, that I would be free from raising children. Isn't that an interesting statement? And so the other day, and I've got this this situation I have to handle that I'll be addressing tomorrow too, but this woman got fucking pissed at me because see, when you life chart, well, most people don't think they're one until they see that one on their birthday cake. But if you're trying to life chart about your child, how are you describing that child the day that he or she comes home from the hospital and you want to document the experience or the weight or how you felt or any of those beautiful things that you want to carry into eternity for you so you don't feel like fake Priscilla and all her friends that are all wailing, with the now, your dad and Elvis are sitting in heaven together on a cloud hanging out, and she's still calling him daddy, and she's 72 and she can't live without him because he's exited his physicality, and these are Christian people. That's a program. So it's pretty sinister. And like I said, these dirty, rotten Zanash, Zadokai, Zadakim, you can look up any of these words. They put a T in front of the Z. And sometimes they put an X instead of the Z. But you'll find it. And like I said, go see John Lamb Lash. And this guy is one of those Zadakim, Zadakai, Zanash, people that don't have any regard for life. Fortunately, you can't see his face. See, I need to remember that because usually I just put him out there. But I thought it would be fun for the game. And you see, I'm live streaming through Facebook and I'm Google. See, this is a lot. Oh, shit. Isn't that funny? Can you imagine? It's blowing. I got to keep my composure. Okay, so anybody that's on Google Live watching this, see, they can't see, but they're spies, so they already know. And they're like a bunch of fucking rats scurrying and hurrying and calling the atheist that started the religion's Commonwealth chanting, who's a out-of-work lawyer and picks on little girls like me. You should be ashamed of yourself. I know you really don't like women. Oh, see, I'm looking right at him. I don't mean to confuse you guys, but I really get involved in my work. And he was one of the boofs teasing me that I actually will talk to the computer. Well, what the fuck am I supposed to talk to? My teacup? You look at the light and you talk. You're connected to your heart brain, and it's a hub of intelligence for you. So if I want to talk to Elvis or talk to this paper, you see, I'm just fully engaged. So, by the way, that'll be something to keep in mind. You'll need to know how to play the game. You're going to have to be honest. Wow. Okay, so we got this video here. And surely, see, people that are geniuses that go to college and mock others and just want girls for blowjobs and birthing them a couple kids or whatever, whatever, dude. Yeah, they think if they hide their shit in the middle or put it at the end that they're safe, and they don't think that people take time to actually listen to the words coming out of their mouth. What they're really looking for is their reactions. So it's like people losing energy off one another, or people getting under each other's skin to rile each other up. See, some of these people were full well aware who the target was. Hey, by the way, CW. I wore this shirt. Did I just say the name? Well, I didn't say the whole name, and it's not even his legal name. So you might see me slip a little here and there. I mean, it is what it is. So we're going to 40 minutes in. So if anyone is on Facebook Live, well, shit. If you're on Google Live, all you got to do is play the game with us, and you could open up another window. You can keep me up, and then you can bring him up, and we'll just go head to head. And we're going to take it at 40:49. And of course, if I'm a few seconds off, it's just the way it's got to be. Now, what we've got is we've got a big system here because these guys play rock band. And you know what? It's cool to play rock band. Actually, that's how we're having this incredible event. So, some people play music that makes people happy, or that helps them heal, or that soothes their soul. These guys play with white noise and low vibration tones, and those are considered to be directed energy weapons. I mean, you know, they're just playing. It's not really hurting anybody. And as long as you're strong and mentally stable, it can't hurt you. Can't hurt me. I mean. All right, let's rock and roll. Get that volume up. I don't want to miss it.
And you hope that something springs up. But my fear is this: is that we become further and further isolated from each other. The opportunities to work in close concert and proximity with each other on organic things and systems that we love and enjoy, not on assignment for the man, or at work. We're part of the system, There's, especially today, increasingly, people are gaining their sense of a community. They're experiencing their sense of interconnectedness and community on these controlled and mediated platforms. Even a forum, even the simple forum run on that ubiquitous PHP protocol, whatever it is. So all the forums look exact. They're basically exactly the same. The belt, the colors change. This is an IndyCar racing forum, so we've got IndyCar at the top. Ooh-hoo. And it's red and black. It's IndyCars. Ooh-hoo. And then you go to the goth forum, and it's all black and white. Ooh candles. You know what I mean? And blah. And moderated by people things like Lord Farnworth Bloodworthy the Third. I don't know, whatever. But still, it's still, on topic, off topic, miscellaneous, the whack factory, whatever the case may be, you know what I mean? Various folders and subfolders. And it runs the same way, you know what I mean?
Really?
I mean, that's a controlled environment. Someone controls that form that may or may not be you. And even that form is subsistent on another series of underlying systems of control and things that are not given to you or granted to you, things that you merely use at another person's leisure. Like the telecommunications wires, where you find me the contract that you have, honestly, that says that the people that own the wires, the fiber optic wires and the satellites and whatever, and all the communication technology, that they have any obligation whatsoever to provide service or access their service to you. personally. There's a variety of things about common goods and things, but look at application. Look how the things actually work in practice, and you realize you can be part of a community, you can be part of a family. Online, YouTube, that you get too many strikes against you, and Google takes away your account. Oof. Boom. It's like you literally got excised from a nation state. And the beat goes on, And we're going to move over to this form, or this other alternative form. You still are existing at their pleasure. And best case scenario, something gets to be big enough as YouTube to challenge YouTube. Well, guess what? If you get to be a company that's so big that it's actually a threat or challenge to things like YouTube or Amazon or Google or anything like that, guess what? By definition, you have a thing that you're dealing with that's as big as the motherfucker that you needed something to come get you. It's like the old lady who swallowed the fly, that she swallows the spider to catch the fly. Now she's got a spider inside her. Now she's doubly fucked, right? Now she's beyond the 8-ball. Better cat's saying to go catch that spider. Then you gotta go get a cat to catch the mouse, dog to catch cat. On it goes.
It does, doesn't it?
You'll still be left with a system where there's going to be another, unless there's an anarchist or libertarian, utopia.
Okay, I got to cut in before the time. I'm going to do this as little as possible. So if there is already something that has happened that is new on the horizon that someone doesn't get to be involved in because they're naughty, they automatically discredit it. Because they feel like, see, they need to know everything about it, and then they can be kingship, pin a turd ball mountain, and sit in judgment. Because this is what this dude does. He goes after the big hits, which means the people that are very popular, because he hopes to, ride on that, because he has nothing of his own to contribute. Most parasites don't. So, at this point, you see, he's a little bit worried about losing that YouTube channel. And as we go on in the story, he'll tell you all about why. But I just had to bring that up. I'm gonna
second coming that really shifts things into another thing. And who knows, right? Who am I to say? The future is not guaranteed. We make predictions based on expectations. Those expectations could even be reasonable. If you lived in Pompeii, it would be perfectly reasonable and logical for you to use the following thinking. I am a fairly young man. I take care of myself.
He's
I
42.
do what I can. I avoid excess of behavior, drinking, or drug, one woman, or song.
He does
I've tempered and personality, and I count no man as my enemy. I've woken up today as I've woken up every other day. I've risen from my bed, I've looked out the window, and I've greeted the sun.
See, he's talking about somebody with a positive mental attitude.
It's perfectly reasonable for that person to say, and I expect when someone gets upset about something, he could say, you can get upset about this or upset about the other thing. But the fact of the matter is that things are probably going to be all right. And tomorrow, it's more likely than not that I'm going to wake up, arise from my bed, go to the window, greet the sun, and begin my day again. That's perfectly reasonable. But one day, all of a sudden, he came to that window and said, "What's that rumble?" Right?
Right. Is it because you did something wrong?
The predictable, expected result can sometimes come out of nowhere.
Expectable result.
But you hear that in the Q dialogues, the Q conversation, the QAnon discussions. No one thought she could lose.
No one thought she could lose.
Plenty of people thought that she could lose. The people that voted for the other guy, And they always go like this. Nobody thought she could lose. Scott Adams thought she could lose. There were plenty of people that predicted that Trump would lose.
Scott Adams, write it down.
Were they in the majority? No. But it's like the exception that proves the rule. That's just a nice thing to say. There is no such thing as an exception that proves a rule. Because any exception to a rule does what, kids? It's Logic 101. Any exception to a rule does what? It obviates that rule. It falsifies the rule. A rule is a rule.
I'd like to see the rule book. I mean, does he have the rule book? And does he understand the rule book?
A rule can't have exceptions. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It can have, elucidation and further explanation. It could be a multi-stage process.
I don't understand how she does what she does. Really? I'm sorry you can't understand. Really.
But
Breaks
at some
my
point,
heart.
a rule has an articulation that says, this is the rule. And if you encounter something, if this is a rule that accounts for all the observable phenomena that we can observe in the known universe.
Mm.
And if something comes by and is an exception to that, it disproves the rule.
And Courtney
You know what I
Brown just
mean?
did that today.
Fat guys never go home with the prettiest girl at the party. Oh yeah, look at that. There goes Dave. Exception that proves the rule.
Okay, so Dave,
you never see that. It's
is
unexpected.
the fat guy that gets the
Yeah, but
pretty
it's
girl.
happening. The fat guy is leaving the party with the good-looking girl.
All right, Dave is
Stop.
the fat
Like the
guy.
rule does not exist. The rule has been falsified. An exception to the rule
girl.
disproves the rule, does not make it.
All right.
And there's so much that if you play out like that, if you just take the time to just sit and think about, your expectations and or the way that we put the fact that so much of what we put together and how we interact with the world is based and predicated upon not even the world, but just this model of the world. You know what I mean?
I got noisemakers.
We don't
Chocolate.
drive home cautiously on New Year because we know there's a specific drunk driver, right? Well, maybe you know what I'm saying. Like if we're leaving the party with nobody drinking.
So the fat guy left the party drunk.
So
all right, got it.
For the weeds. Hold on.
All right, I'm with you.
If he was out past 3 o'clock in the morning, he was up to no good. Possibly.
Oh. Hey, I should have turned that off at 49:05, but I was involved in my chocolate. And we're at 49:37. So we're actually 3 seconds into the second clip. Now, I didn't want you guys to have to hear that music because one of the things a good chanter does, and you're never supposed to go full chanter, but what he likes to do when he does his coded messages is he'll talk code for 10 or 15 minutes. And then he'll talk about real things. And what that does is it breaks the flow. It puts a wall up, like when you go blow me sideways. But it puts this wall up. So the thought is lost. And you see, if the thought is lost, well, then it's easy to manipulate it around and say, well, I never said that. Or, well, I didn't mean it when I said it. Well, I'm sorry I said it. I'm the guy on the internet. This is what dude said a couple days ago. He's the guy on the internet that says sorry more than anybody else does. And it's not fair that these people aren't saying sorry to him. Because, see, in his mind, and you'll see him go back and forth, he'll mock it and say that we're all a joke and that none of us have a lick of sense and we can't do good investigative journalism. And then turn around and want to hang with the people that do good journalism. Or they don't do good journalism, but they're popular because one of those programs are supporting them. And he's said he'd prostitute himself out. I mean, these are all in his own videos. And, that means sell out. That doesn't mean bend over necessarily. You'd have to buy him dinner and a movie or something. But in the meantime, to sell out. See, I've never sold out, and they can verify it through my self-employment, through my mission statement, through 30 years of keeping every paper original I have. Of also having serious documents that can blow this thing wide open. But I never see dude here bring anything to the table except for double talk. And that's what they teach you to do. Remember, you layer things. So we're going to tag it, say confirmation of spirit, and we're going to recognize it. And so the next time somebody does this to you, you have tools. All right, let's continue. The next clip, 4940 to 5105. And I'm not going to say a word.
We spend our lives wrapped up in these expected worlds, knowing that tomorrow, knowing that the thing is going to be, knowing that things are like this, things are like that. Anything could happen, really. And what's even crazier about this, maybe this is just personal to me, or maybe you can relate to this, is the amount of time we spend bemoaning that the same thing happens over and over again, bemoaning that life is like Groundhog's Day, and then doing everything in our power to moderate our behavior and our methodology and our interpretation and thinking to make sure that we're absolutely locked into a world of pre-existing expectations and assumptions about what's going to happen next, right? I'll think to myself, oh, it's foolish to think this or to do that. Or, come on, you got to be kidding me. You think you're going to do that? Make a difference, reach out. Come on, it's an oversubscribed market. Come on. No one can break out. But you can. And then the person that does, you think to yourself, shoot, that's right.
Right.
I could have gone for it. I could have done my own thing.
You could have. Son of a gun. Okay. So now, of course, I know you guys can't play the game the same way I can because I'm the bitch that it happened to. But see, it happens to you guys too. It's just that you've never had the tools to play the game with us. So, for real, I have to give him props. He tried to modify his behavior. So what he means by that is originally he went for the views and the money, which never happened for him. And then he started, we'll see, his original thing he came on originally was to start his religion. So even put that before the selling out just to get views. First it was a religion. And now you ask yourself how it is that one group of Zenosh MFs infiltrated not only the other 11 tribes of Israel, but also what you call Christianity. These very people like him, his kin, his lineage, that have no respect for life and have over 600 kosher requirements to meet because they don't just bleed it white. They actually use the blood in different food preparations and things. So you know how you infect somebody while they're young when they don't know. See what that reminds me of. And oh my gosh, you want to talk about a major battle. So the whole Elvis birthday party out of Graceland. Now remember, you'll need to know this for the game. The official party line is that, they would never sell Graceland. And now there has been a mega complex built, one that spreads Legionnaire's disease, one that charges money to see alleged dead people in boxes, one that you can buy great quality slippers from that you will slide and bust your ass. And even worse, I'm upset about this. All right, so now you got these fools spell casting in a Zoom room. And oh yeah, I've got it all documented. And don't think Zoom doesn't keep them recordings. Good grief. But anyhow, so they're in there spell casting and doing boogie boogie and Lord knows what else, right? Well, I'm going to take that back now to the whole Elvis Presley thing. Here's EPE Enterprises that's doing all this finagling. And they're making this cheap shit, right? So I'm going to do my camera setup. And I needed something for Elvis to sit on, you see? And I was going to perch him right up here. So when I was doing my initial, you know, which sculpture, which piece of art, because I've also made this, the scales broke. And so I replaced it with this horn. But anyhow, I was going to put dude right up here. And look what happened. And I'm not making fun. He lost his head. Okay. Now, fortunately, I got his head. No worries. And I'm actually going to repair him during the show when Big Mouth is talking, when we get in a longer run. You know, they've been spellcasting on him for years. And I thought, isn't that something? You know, you think you can cut somebody's head off. And sure as shit, whether it's blood family or spiritual family, because it's the same thing. Just because you don't know your blood don't mean you're not. So I'm not worried about this. This is a graven image. And so you see, especially when people produce graven images for financial gain and do wicked things they shouldn't be doing. Promise. There's a very watchful, benevolent eye. And there's too much monkey business going on. Okay. So now our next segment, we get to go all the way. I mean, he just talks shit. Nothing y'all need to hear. But if, I mean, you know. I mean, it's hard enough to sit through. 103.50, 103.50. It's like finding gold. I'm just starting it right there. Now, this is his buddy Ramsey.
Called Unsleeved Media. His name is Jeremy, and he ran two YouTube channels. He ran Unsleeved Media, which was basically his gamer culture YouTube channel. Unboxings, a lot in the Magic the Gathering community, a very popular activity on YouTube is, you know, opening up booster packs. These are collectible card games, means you don't know what's in the pack. Are you going to get a good card? Is it going to be a shitty card? You don't know. They open up these booster packs, especially rare booster packs that maybe were in a box in somebody's convenience store since 1997. So it's a rare, oh, this is a Pokemon booster pack from, 2001. This was part of this limited series, yada, yada. People haven't seen, and we got a whole box and we're going to open up 20 of them, whatever the case may be. What ended up happening with Jeremy and Unsleeved Media is that he became involved in, for want of a better term, kind of shitlord culture. He became an aficionado of Sargon of Akkad. He started, being a Trump supporter. And basically what ended up happening is that in addition to his unboxing...
Wait, what do you call it? Sargon of God? Come on. No, I ain't listening to that shit.
Being a Trump supporter. And basically what ended up happening is that in addition to his unboxing video and his straight Magic the Gathering stuff, he also used his social media to basically, do a little bit of light trolling, to point out things in the community.
Whoa, that's a lot of information.
Gamer culture YouTube channel.
We gotta We got to really hear this without
So,
that.
they open up these booster packs, especially rare booster packs that maybe
Look.
were in a box and some.
You're getting on my last nerve already. Now slow down and shut the fuck up while I'm talking to you. 103.50. Okay, now I'm going to 103.44. And it's just going to have to be good enough. Zargan of Argathon?
Called Unsleeved Media. His name is Jeremy, and he ran two YouTube channels. He ran Unsleeved Media, which was basically his gamer culture YouTube channel. Unboxings, a lot in the Magic the Gathering community, a very popular activity on YouTube is, opening up booster packs. These are collectible card games, means you don't know what's in the pack. Are you going to get a good card? Is it going to be a shitty card? You don't know. They open up these booster packs, especially rare booster packs that maybe were in a box in somebody's convenience store since 1997. So it's a rare, this is a Pokemon booster pack from, 2001. This was part of this limited series, yada, yada. People haven't seen, and we got a whole box of them. We're going to open up 20 of them, whatever the case may be. What ended up happening with Jeremy and Unsleeved Media is that he became involved in, for want of a better term, kind of shitlord culture. He became an aficionado of Sargon of Akkad. He started, being a Trump supporter. And basically what ended up happening is that in addition to his unboxing video and his straight Magic the Gathering stuff, he also used his social media to basically, do a little bit of light trolling, to point out things in the community that he thought were bad, but not in a nice way, not in a sensitive way. Being a little bit of, like I said, an edgelord about things, a shitlord about things, saying things in a nasty way instead of saying things in a nice way. Anyway, this led to a watershed moment where another YouTube content creator, basically a cosplayer involved in the Magic the Gathering community, basically said that she was leaving the Magic the Gathering community and leaving Magic the Gathering cosplay specifically because of the actions of Unsleeved Media, because of what she thought was concentrated, derision, trolling, harassment, and what have you. And then basically what ended up happening is that lines were drawn in the sand, and basically Jeremy found himself on the opposite end of every other popular Magic the Gathering YouTube channel. Universally, the Magic the Gathering YouTube community looked to Jeremy Unsleeved Media and said, fuck you. You are the problem. We don't like you. We don't like your antics. We side with her. We side with the cosplayer. We don't side with you. See you later. Wizards of the Coast ended up giving Jeremy a lifetime ban, meaning that he can't participate as a judge or a player in sanctioned Magic the Gathering competitions. Also, this obviously means that he's not going to be part of any sort of sponsorship program or network program organized by Wizards of the Coast or Hasbro, the companies that own Magic the Gathering. And therefore, he's not going to be able to get perks, pre-releases for his channel, opportunities to go backstage and interview people at shows or at tournaments. So this basically affects his livelihood, both as a Magic the Gathering player. He did participate in tournament events. He did participate, to the best of my knowledge, in events that had money jackpots, cash rewards and stuff. And therefore, he was, through the actions of a company that he had basically participated with, helping, promote their products, promote the community, promote the game. Right? All of a sudden, he found himself on the outs. In response to that, he basically stumbled upon looking for basically arguments to be made that what had happened to him was unfair. He ended up basically becoming an accidental journalist. And what had happened was that in his process of doing research, basically to dig up dirt on the fact that them banning, I think his premise that he started off with was, I was banned for nothing. And I shouldn't have banned for what they banned me for. And therefore, their actions are unjust. In the process of looking into who gets banned and who doesn't get banned, Jeremy at Unsleeved Media discovered, and this can be all, you could do your own research and you should, under the look, if you're not involved in Twitter, if you're just looking on YouTube, go hashtag MagicGate. Hashtag MagicGate. And it'll get the process started and you'll start to see what's going on. Now, this is a fast-moving story,
Hey, I already know
and the
CW.
players are fast-moving players. Like I said, Jeremy is a bit of an
Bonus
edgelord.
points.
He's also, at this point, seems to be trying to stabilize his YouTube platform and doing more gamer-centric content, less controversial content, though he's still obviously working the Magic the Gate story.
Obviously.
What is Magic Gate?
What is it?
Magic Gate is basically what Jeremy discovered is, unlike other collectible card games that have tournament play, like Pokemon, like Yu-Gi-Oh!, Wizards of the Coast, the company that ran and helps run Magic the Gathering events and publishes Magic the Gathering the game, did not have a system in place that would prevent people, sexual predators, people on the sexual predator, reporting list, from being judges at Wizard of the Coast events. Basically, the allegation by Jeremy is the following. Wizards of the Coast, knowing that it was an industry standard practice to have a system in place to screen judges, because judges obviously have access and have power politic access to players, including minor players, were negligent for not having a system in place that would prevent known sexual offenders, people on sex offender watch lists, from becoming judges and participating in tournament play. Now check this out. So hashtag MagicGate is basically, he then began to run through the data, to look through things, and he noticed several things. Basically the following is I think to the extent that it can be verified, I feel confident in saying that he's definitely discovered that there were multiple people involved in Magic the Gathering's judge program, Wizards of the Coast judging program, or a program that they helped oversee and helped participate and run, that were on the sex offender watch list, that were known to be sexual predators, and sexual predators, particularly in regards to pedophiles, people that come after children. So if you really want to look at the reporting on the individual judges and the information that's been discovered by Jeremy, you definitely want to go to Unsleeves Media or just look up MagicGate and you'll get the process started. I don't stand by all of his research, and like I said, it's a very fast-moving story with outrageous players.
It is fast-moving.
So, but I do want to say that what occurred to me that I thought was valuable, and me and Dave were talking about this, and what we wanted to basically try and do was we were trying to get Jeremy to come onto our channel, come on to here and to talk to us about what's going on with MagicGate, because me and Dave are kind of both of the same impression that it's what's really unfortunate about the Pizzagate, Pedogate stuff is human sex trafficking is real. The exploitation of children by groomers and these things is real, but it's not CIA-run satanic cults underneath the Playboy Mansion with tunnels. And he knows that because
he's got the rule book, right?
You know what I mean?
See, he knows that because he has the rule book.
Oh, so much.
We got
It's not that. It's things like this. It's little things around.
It's little things
us that we can see,
like TV commercials. Oh, there's that.
And
music.
Observe and know and discover.
Hang on.
That no one's looking into,
shit.
And that someone really should. Someone really should look into.
Somebody's looking into it.
Was this?
All right, hang on.
Is that Jeremy? I think is very, very
okay. Now somebody should be looking into this, and he says that it is Jeremy that has the skills, the knowledge, and the expertise to look into it. So let's put Jeremy down, because Jeremy is in this list over here too. And I'm not going to give you the keys to the kingdom just yet, but I am going to show you what I'm doing, because I'm full disclosure, as you know. So when we started our journey tonight, we had the bigger letters that we went over, and I read each one of them, and I told you would need to know those terms and that I would be adding terms to it, right? So as it goes, I'm connecting it in the right place. And so, for example, I'm just going to go right off the top here. Let's imagine that they're talking about something other than what they're telling you they're talking about. Now, I know a story from when I was back at CCN where there was an underage girl that Mel and Biggie had put to a contract to broadcast. And that was completely illegal. And it's illegal to sign someone to a contract too when they're giving you donations through a electronic withdrawal at your bank or however that was set up. I mean, that's how they got me, was the bank. So anyhow, this little girl, she was 16, but at first it was like she was doing her own makeup, which she's a kid. She should be able to do her own damn makeup, okay? Well, all of a sudden she got a makeover, and I mean, they put her in adult makeup and did her hair. I'm talking about her mom. I'm not saying that Mel came out of hiding and went across country because she's a hairdresser, and did the kid's hair. I'm not saying that. Mom did the hair. Mom did the makeup. And when I was in Journalism Academy and people were dropping like flies, Mel said that Mom said that she couldn't do it no more. So, see, that's a real story that can be verified. And I will go back and get this little girl's name because she is my friend on Facebook. So I don't have a problem doing that. She has a little bit of a speech impediment, and so some people were being mean to her. Was the story that Mel told us of why she was getting harassed. But there's more to that story, and I'll save it for another day. Play the game with us. Okay. Now there's a terrible noise break where that's being used for deviant purposes again. We're at 112.01, and now we go to 112.48. I just can't bear listening to that. We're at come on. 112.42, close enough.
And I think, there's some key components. One of the, it's important to note that this cosplayer that started all this was not just a cosplay enthusiast, but rather was a professional cosplayer.
A professional cosplayer.
Who's, I think the music's a bit,
Okay.
I want to turn it down just a little bit.
Right,
There
the
you go,
music is to program.
And she actually had a Patreon. And it's kind of interesting that her Patreon was tanking before this announcement was made. And then
Really?
directly afterwards, of course, she received quite a bit of support. And you can also find some direct corollaries between Zoe Quinn and I forgot this girl's name that we're talking about.
Right.
Sure you did.
There's a lot of Gamergate,
You forgot
Magic
that
things
name,
that kind
huh?
of are almost exactly alike.
Right.
And then we also
Amazing
had,
such
I don't know
smart
if you
people
saw
can
it during
forget
the
such
update yesterday,
things.
but just to add to the kind of what's been happening is he's actually one of the things he's noticed is the fact that you have the Judges Association for Magic is not actually a part of Wizards of the Coast, and that's
Right.
kind of been, so they have some deniability there, I think, which he says it's in the spirit of the law. They should be the same, like they should be liable for what happens. And I think
Right.
that's something interesting you can talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yesterday, the judges' excuses were that they can't afford to do background checks, which seems a bit ludicrous to me because it's such an important thing when you have these kids involved. And then they actually made a response yesterday
Tag it.
that was he went
Tag
over it on their the judges' official blog that they put out, and it was pretty ludicrous. It was akin to the YouTube Logan Paul response where they just basically lie. They say that they've always condemned sexual predators and any kind of sexual crime. They
Right.
said they've always acted on reports, which, Jeremy shows some pretty good evidence that that's not true. He had conversations from people that have reported to him where they had reported pedophiles who were on the list, who were interacting with kids and judging at these events. And it was just people who thought a judge had made an unfair call. So they they Google their name to see if any other Magic players had complained about whether or not this judge was a problem, and it comes up on the pedophile registry. And he had reported this to a regional judge overseer, and nothing ever came out of it. And the guy's name was on the registry list basically until Jeremy reported it, where, if you go look up the names that he reports now on the Magic websites, their names have been removed. But if you go up way back,
that was good.
Which is an internet archive, if you want to get into that too. But, they tried to scrub it from the internet, but you can go and look at the way back and see that their names were there.
Right.
Or that they changed their last name slightly, they just barely changed the spelling so they can register on the Magic website and not come up on the registry.
Right. There's definitely I think 3 things there that I want to make sure that we don't miss. Number one.
Okay. So when my arm goes flying up in the air when I do something, that's a good indicator that I got the gossip on what's really going on. All right. And when I say the gossip, y'all should know by now, I mean the gospel truth. So let me tell you what your buddy Suze knows. Because the righteous will be able to separate the wheat from the chaff. Easy breezy, man. From what I hear, the network of do-gooders globally have found a way to do background checks for $10 a pop. And this isn't no lie. Because if you're going to get let's say a contract to do all that, and you're actually a good person and need a job and they create a job for you, I don't know. $10 background checks for billions of people. It sounds like a win-win for everybody. I know lawyers don't like that kind of shit because they'll be the first ones without jobs. But what this all comes down to is a 50-year-old established way that the government has checked out their own people. And I was talking about it earlier, called the psychopath test. So when they gave the test to Melanie, my client and friend, they knew she couldn't be programmed. So she didn't get that job. But they were seeing how far they could prompt her. And like I said, I'm having the same situation right now with an energy that's come to play with me. And you'll see what I do about that tomorrow. Well, it's actually today because it's after midnight, isn't it? So I'm double banging. Okay. Forward and onward, 115. Jeez. Seems like this goes on forever, doesn't it? 115. But you see, you have to know all this to play the game. Otherwise, you're not playing the game. All right, 115:54. Just hit play. You're tired.
This notion of, I want to talk. The first thing is that this notion that Jeremy's criticisms and why Jeremy was silenced by Magic the Gathering in response to this female cosplayer is really has to do. It can have some fundamental arguments that can be raised by cosplaying females in general in these communities, and this characterization that Jeremy had that
because all girls are whores. It's all women's fault.
Argument.
They're luring all these people. What he was saying was
that these girls, these thirst traps,
with their
are basically
skin hanging out.
Basically glorified, sex workers who are exploiting the
glorified
people that
sex
they know
workers exploiting
that are involved in these communities. Not to engage in too much stereotyping, the characteristic of a Magic the Gathering player is not a guy who's known and famous for his confidence with the opposite sex and his way with women, right? So there's also this notion about the way people come to her defense, or the way that it's handled, the way it brings up kind of male-female power politics. And the way
I talk about that all the time, CW.
So I definitely want to get feedback going on that.
The battle is sex.
The other thing is
love versus, fear.
Their deniability and what they're doing with the changing of the record, where they're scrubbing data that's something we definitely want to talk about, because that has something to do, I think, has to do with aspects of negligence. You know, I want to be very cautious, because, you know, the law is the
Right,
law.
because I already know
And
what you're
until you're in
talking
front of a
about.
judge and a jury in either a
Be
civil
real
or criminal
careful.
context, you know, you don't know how it's actually going to shake out and what the interpretation is going to be. You know, law says something on paper, and then what ends up happening is that individual actions of human players are analyzed
Really?
under those terms and those rubrics, and then
Hey, they got pissed at me at first because, you know, the first thing my big mouth said online was that very thing. So keep that in mind when you play the game with us. But yeah, see, this is about taking somebody's intellectual property and talking about it like you know what the fuck's going on, but you're really the little bitch in the corner because you threw birthday cake on the king, and you know you got to have a dunce cap and sit in the corner. But
you know, sometimes results happen that people think are fair, and then sometimes results happen that people think are unfair.
and what you think matters.
Well, I think you're right, but I
'Cause
think
you're
you
righteous.
also he put, you know, the vice president of marketing or PR, I can't remember which, tweeted out
He
that
can't remember which
basically
one.
making the excuse that those names were removed because they were there erroneously. That
Erroneously.
sometimes names exist on the list.
You mean
Who's
fake
no longer
profiles
judged.
or real
I
profiles
think
or what?
I felt the evidence he put forward to negate that claim was pretty overwhelming.
Right. And that's what they say, you know, people doing their own research. I mean, you really do. And
Right. Tell
all
me
that,
I can't do
that someone-
research. I'll
that
kiss your
guys like
booty.
me and Dave can do is kind of get with the coverage like this, is kind of get the conversation started to say that we don't know what it is, and we don't know, you know, who's actually, you know, at fault, and, you know, and who, you know, deserves, you know, break, or who's being judged unfairly, or who's going off. It's just to say that in a world where people are interested in this, very much so, and are very passionate about protecting kids, we should look at the behaviors of these companies and see what they do, what their reaction is. Their reaction is not to say this is a real problem and we're going to go out of our way, even though it's going to cost us money to fix. We're going to fix it. They say, hey, this guy's got it wrong, and
Hey,
this is
hey, hey,
unfair.
now, hey.
And you know, so that's interesting. I mean, when it comes to the negligence thing, I mean, we might as well talk about it right here. Is this?
Go ahead.
You know, if something happened at a Magic the Gathering event, something unfortunate with a
Something
child,
unfortunate.
investigating that are going to look to online resources of information, as they will look to any other source of possible information, to try and put together the who, what, where, when, and how of what may or may not have happened on a given day. The fact of the matter is that if the company decides that their reaction to finding a sex offender on a legacy, you know, event from 2012, and to scrub that information, that's very problematic, because that cop, that investigator, that private eye, that mother, that child themselves trying to put together what happened, is going to look in the past and say, well, who was there and who wasn't there?
Right.
And if a name has been
I know
omitted,
who was there and
especially
who
a name has
wasn't
been
there.
omitted, who might be a person of interest, that's very problematic. I mean,
Okay, so let me stop that real quick. When you ask why I get screenshots, or like say when I show you in the future how to track down bad guys, because I'm really good at it. That's very, very upsetting. I know it burst your whole fucking game, didn't it? But we're playing for life. And y'all are playing like a bunch of spoiled, rotten children. Where are we? 1/2017. Okay, so we're going to roll into some really short ones here. And I broke them up because they are specific punchlines. And I'm tired. I'm tired of this. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run a continuous run without turning it off. But we're at 1/2017. And that means we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is important. There are no coincidences. So I'm going to draw a line. And we have the 7 isolated. And believe it or not, that means there'll be 7 specific key points that we will want to identify if we want to learn how to play the game. And like I said, this ain't more than 9 minutes of bullshit. But I'm not going to stop after each one and identify. I'd be giving everybody the answers to the game, which that's not right. And I need to speed this up because, you know, I'm playing the game for life and to win. And I got to work too.
I mean, if you think about, you know, the allegation for a lot of the things, the reason that the Catholic Church got sued as the Catholic Church, not the individual priests, is because at a certain point, if an entity, if a company, if an organization's behavior is systematic, you can look to that systematic behavior and say, are you trying to cover something up, or are you trying to bring things to light? Are you helping the problem, or are you hurting the problem? And I'm not suggesting that I know the answers to that, where the ultimate responsibility lies. But I just want to say that it's very interesting, it's very problematic when their response, especially to an issue that involves this sort of allegation and this sort of problem, is to immediately start scrubbing the public record.
Right.
And not even to do it in a way that says, okay, here's the updated list, and we're also going to retain and keep this information relevant as well. But to go back and to change things, that seems very problematic to me. That doesn't seem wise to me from a legal perspective.
Third time you said problematic.
I'm sure that the guy that's the actual legal advisor to Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro has a keener legal mind than I do, or certainly better trained one.
Yeah.
So I did think that was problematic with the evidence, and people are going to have to see. And like I said, for me, my take on the coverage is this: because it's driven by passion, and because that's problematic. I think a lot of what Jeremy is doing is good, but it needs to be taken with a grain of salt. I definitely wouldn't say that I think that I could say that everything that is exploring with quote unquote hashtag Magicgate is on the money.
Magicgate.
What I do think is interesting is the way that he's doing his best to publish this and get this information out there. And he seems very frustrated with the fact that more people aren't picking up the story and discussing it.
And he's gone a step further. Yesterday, he actually has started I think it's a GoFundMe account. Okay. And he says he knows someone in the Judges Association that he trusts that's very high up. And he's already put $1,000 in the account. He's asked other YouTubers like the Professor and such to get involved with this, but it's basically a scholarship fund for the Judges Association to run background checks. And he's gotten a bulk deal with a background check company that'll do the checks for $10 each.
Where did I hear that?
Now, there you go. So now that's
so there you
in this
go.
Community. So basically, looking at this, not to put words in anybody else's mouth on the panel.
Well, you don't. It's just you two on the
I was
panel.
thinking about this story, why I thought that this story would be interesting to bring to you guys, the community here, is this.
Okay, so you go to him.
It goes to show you a couple of different things. Number one, how isolated in a pocket-like, and tide pool-like these little YouTube communities are. We talk about YouTube, and we think our YouTube is the YouTube. But if you just do some mental exercises, like think about other people you subscribe to that are not part of this little world, you'll see what's really out there, what the numbers really are for a lot of these people. And you'll put things in perspective as far as looking at things that are happening in our little community and thinking that the world is changing or things are really heating up or taking off.
The world is really changing.
But another thing was that we live in a world in this community where there's so many people that will say, oh, I don't get it because I'm not, I don't believe in Pizzagate, or that I'm still acting like there's a possibility that John Podesta, Hillary Clinton, and Bill Clinton
atheists have no beliefs,
child
you
raping,
stoner.
satanic pedophiles.
You don't even get high.
I say it's not that I don't think that human suffering exists. It's not that I don't think that human trafficking exists. No. It's not that I don't think the sexual exploitation of children exists. It's just that I don't think it happens in these magical contexts.
Oh, so now it's magical instead of political. All right, magical to political.
Jesus, that it comes back and destroys the Illuminati.
Huh.
But this is something that you can look at. And this is something that you can research and look at and see and possibly make a difference. That
Every
sharing this
human can
information,
make a
if you think
difference.
it's got value and you think it's valuable, you can help this GoFundMe and you can be helping to make a difference. And I dare say that this is a better example of making a difference than giving a Patreon hit to someone who's just going to sit there and read QAnon posts to you and then speculate about it and then try and get you to sign up for cryptocurrency or gold.
Yeah, I mean, you're actually going to tell potentially vulnerable children, you're actually going to protect them in this way. It's a big deal.
Oh, now it is a
big deal. I mean, to me, it's shocking, and especially the corporate reaction was shocking.
After the gaming community gets
but I think that
called out for the chain jerking and watching violent videos, and I called you out.
How do corporations really treat their customer base? And knowing that it's so problematic in the world where more and more people
watching
are giving
porn
more
and
and more
gaming
of
at the same
themselves to
time, you
these
should be ashamed of
corporations.
yourself.
They're not going and shopping at a local community grocery anymore. They're getting their food from Amazon. They're not going to a local bookstore or music store anymore.
Don't
They're
support a small business. Don't support an
their
artist.
Music and their books from Amazon. They're not visiting each other, going to clubs anymore, or visiting the social space. They're on Facebook and they're getting their what they think their friends list is there. That's some sort of real social interaction.
No, I'm going to prove that one tomorrow too. No, nobody believes it. Quit telling people they believe it. See, you tell them what they believe.
Very poor substitutions for
I bring them
real
the proof.
life human interaction. Let's do this just so that we get it. I was thinking about this.
I want to make sure you get it with your notes.
Here's another thing I want to explore with you, Dave. See if you guys feedback on this. Magic the Gathering, before this whole thing happened with Jeremy, Magic the Gathering, the big news that was coming out of Magic the Gathering was there was a shrinking community base.
Right.
Magic the Gathering YouTube content creator called Alpha Investments.
Alpha Investments.
That covers this in depth. And it basically says that he pointed out that, and this is then I'll point out the facts that have come to the surface, and then I'll point out what I think is a correlation in this community and Magic the Gathering and other communities. Here's the thesis by C.W. Chanter.
Thesis,
in times of economic desperation, people act desperately. And when things are good, things are very, very good and people can get along. And when the crunch is on, when the real financial crunch is on, that's when things become unacceptable, and that's when people start reacting heavily to other things. And I think that it's example you can see it in Magic the Gathering. I think you could also see it in AAA games. I think you could also see it in the YouTube skeptic community. The YouTube skeptic community basically just recently went crazy and self-immolated. Okay, and a whole new rank of YouTube content creators kind of stepped up into their place. Almost
good ones too.
And I think it has everything to do with why that transition happened. It had to do with the so-called YouTube adpocalypse. People were at one time making money, and at the time that they were making money, they were jibbing and jabbing and going at each other. But it didn't go apocalyptic. People didn't go crazy on each other until the YouTube adpocalypse happened, and the finances came crumbling down. It's a reach, maybe.
No, they were shutting you guys down.
It's a hypothesis, but it's a hypothesis that I'm very interested in. How bad was Magic the Gathering suffering? They were talking about hemorrhaging almost 40% of their player base.
Oh,
who's going to play Magic the Gathering?
Cry me.
But then again, Magic the Gathering is one of those last vestiges of the hobby store. Friday Night Magic. People getting together and playing with each other in real time. What does Wizards of the Coast really want? What does Hasbro want? They want to all go digital, baby. Right? Why print cards?
When you can give them for free
that makes
friends to play the game with us.
For collectors. But Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast don't see any of that money.
It's going to be the biggest game in the universe, and you can't
Anything
play.
Interesting to you want to pick up on and jab about?
Yeah, I mean, kind of, there's a lot there.
Sorry, Dad.
And you guys are so witty that you laugh
I'm
about
trying to go back to, I had something earlier.
I can't wait to see this one.
Specifically, you kind of talked about how, yes, they're hemorrhaging, and then that sort of went away when this came up. But I think that, the past few weeks, people have been just absolutely Twitter bombing. If you look at basically anything Magic the Gathering or Wizards of the Coast has posted on Twitter, the entire thread is people just mentioning the pedos. That's all you see.
Last several weeks,
And
tag it.
there was even a trolling campaign that took place where people were just posting memes constantly to Hasbro's PR Twitter. And I'm sure that took. I wouldn't be surprised if Twitter actually had to step in and shadow ban what was going on, because it was so
Twitter
many
and shadow
posts.
ban.
You know?
Did you hear that Cult of Dusty fell for the meme for the race war? Andy Worski.
He got mad. He was mad about it.
Not only was he mad about it, he had a video where he discussed that live stream. Basically, a couple of.
Hang on just a second, CW. Okay, you guys. Now, it was about, I'm going to say it was November, maybe October. If you go back and you look at his shows, there's one in particular where he is devastated. I mean, seriously, I'm not making fun. That he was devastated because the toy chain, Toys R Us, was closing down, and he was really pissed off because ever since he's little, he's loved Toys R Us, and he used to get taken there and get all the toys that he wanted. But if he was really true to the movement, he wouldn't be bummed out because a dirty, rotten corporation that makes toxic toys and uses plastic from China and puts spell casting on toys and sells Ouija boards to children. I mean, myself, you know what? I wasn't even sad Toys R Us closed. Okay. So, we've got another run. And we're going to find 5 different things that should be important. And this is going to run for about 9.5 minutes. Give it your best shot, dude.
Days ago, almost a week ago at this point, a YouTuber by the name of Andy Worski hosted a debate between fascist Richard Spencer and political oddball Sargon of Akkad that turned out to be the biggest trending live stream on YouTube, and also Stick, Sex, and Hammer was involved, and JP Garippi. Turned out to be the biggest trending live stream on YouTube. And that's what I mean about changing of the guard. Anyone who remembers the skeptic community might remember an old schooler by the name of Cult of Dusty. He was part of the skeptic community when it really came out. One of the first round of him, TJ Kirk, the Amazing Atheist, Armored Skeptic.
I
one
think
of
you're
the
calling
first
him
round of
Dusty
guys that were coming
implying
out
he's
here and
old.
doing stuff on that skeptic front.
Kind of like some people call
He's got a little bit older and has been
boxes
accused of being
dusty.
out of touch. And what's so
If
funny
if
is
they're
that he
over
came
30
out and
years
he
old,
had
it's
a
a dusty
big
box.
flame out with Kraut and Tea, ironically. I mean, I don't know if that's the correct use of the term ironic.
Ironic?
And for people that aren't in the loop, but me and Dave will do our best to fill the blanks. Basically, what ended up happening was, as Dave mentioned, this meeting. What ended up happening was that Andy Worski was hosting Unsleeved Media on another podcast, and they started creating memes about Andy Worski. And one of the biggest things they did was they kept on calling him Andy Race Worski, and that's just saying that they were doing for that particular thing. Anyway, Cult of Dusty makes a video talking about this live stream and whether or not it's moral and ethical to host a debate with a Nazi, whatever. And he refers to him as Andy Race Worski, and I was like, "Oh, you poor bastard!"
So he's used the word fascist and
And
Nazi.
Cult of Dusty was so hypocritical with that because he criticized Andy Worski for basically taking white power money. Because that night,
power money.
I don't remember the actual grand total, but they received large amounts of super chats during that broadcast. It was a 4-hour broadcast.
I heard $20,000. $20,000.
No, it wasn't $20,000. That was not true. Andy said it was not even near that much. It was probably $2,000-$3,000.
$2,000 or $3,000.
I watched the whole thing. And
you watched the whole thing.
basically, Cult of Dusty's criticizing him for that.
Hey.
And then Andy challenged him to a debate. And Cult of Dusty says, no, I don't want to do the debate on your channel. I want to do it on my channel. Andy's like, I don't care where we do it. Let's just do the debate. And about an hour later, he gets a DM from Cult of Dusty asking him how to turn on super chats.
How do you turn on a super chat?
I just thought that was funny.
It makes perfect sense. Even though, to be honest, and I'm chewing here, I'm sorry. That could have been Cult of Dusty being cute. You know,
Cult
making
of
a cute
Dusty
comment.
being cute.
You know, there's a notion that Cult of Dusty doesn't know how to turn on super chats. Remember, one of the criticisms of Cult of Dusty is before he was a YouTuber, he was an internet pornographer.
Do you mean
So he
somebody
could
that
do
made
basic coding in
videos or did
HTML.
fashion or
notion
photographed
that he
beautiful women
seriously
and now
didn't
you're
know
going to
how
call
to
that
turn on super
pornography? How far are
Or
we
we
going to
need
go
to
with
ask
this
Andy.
CW?
It's just like, that's him obviously being
Giving
like,
you
oh,
a throat.
dude, by the way, totally. And, oh, how do you turn on super chats? Like underlining the fact that you're all super chat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's probably it.
But then, how stupid people can be, because we look at it and we can say, oh, that's probably it. But they're probably all the people that are on the Andy Worski tip are probably like, yo, son, yo. And then you turn around and ask them how to turn on super chats. You fucking loser, right? And then unfortunately, even if Cult of Dusty comes out and says, yo, do you really think? Hold on. Because now that we're doing more talking, I might as well look at the friggin' people. My awesome look. These headphones. Your local neighborhood rabbi, JM in the AM. So what does it mean to give anyway? Even if Cult of Dusty comes out and says, yo, are you serious? There's no way that you could seriously think that I don't know how to turn on Super Chat or would need to ask you or would ask you. And it won't matter because Andy Worski has the heat, right? He's got the heat and he's got the monkeys in the room. This is not a criticism. This is just an analysis of the situation. And it could go the other way. Might makes right. With Andy Worski, Sargon of Akkad, Styx, X, and Hammer, and even Medicare, and all those cats on one side, and Cult of Dusty could say whatever he wants. He's screaming into dead air. What's so funny, if people don't know what all this shit is about, and it's so crazy what's going on in the world. And it's so crazy that people like here in our little world see these little things go on with things like Corey Good and whatever. And they think there's traction here. They think that this is what's going on in the world. And it's like, it's so far from what's going on in YouTube universe. It's not even funny. Cult of Dusty for a long time has been criticized by people as being kind of over the hill. And I think the interesting thing to talk about versus talking about him specifically, but talking about things in general is, you know, you wonder, like, do these people, these YouTube personalities think, what makes a YouTube personality think that being a YouTube personality is somehow quantitatively and qualitatively different than being a stand-up comedian, musician, poet, actor? Do you know what I mean? Like a dream job. Like no one stays in the, like very few people stay in the spotlight forever. No one stays in the spotlight forever. And very few people stay in the spotlight for any given period of time. And it's like, there are people out here that are like, you know, like, what is like, you know, what is your like 10-year, 15-year game plan? Do you think that in 10, 15 years, you're just going to keep on exponentially growing on YouTube?
I mean, there's very few that I can only think of like PewDiePie and Jenna Marbles off the top of my head that still grow at the same rate.
Right. And chances are that they're probably going to stop growing any time now. I mean, Jenny Marbles, like, God bless her, at a certain point, she's going to have to lay low during that interim period where she goes from, you know, attractive young person to funny old gal, like the Joan Rivers type. Like, say what you want. I'm not saying that that's a social system that is good or beautiful. I'm just saying it's one of those things that's kind of in play. You know, the simple facts of life are in play. And what I really think is that what it shows is that all these people who talk about politics and this, and they make the video for that and what they're trying to do and the great work and all this stuff, at the end of the day, people are motivated by basic things, you know, and people got to eat and people got to make things happen. And that's going to influence people's decision-making process.
Well, I'm going to call it right now, and I could be wrong about this, but I think Sargon of Akkad is going to run to become an MP.
Zargan of God.
You think so?
For
He's
MP.
already said he's forming a political party. This, you know, his whole "I'm not going to be a leader" thing.
Right.
He went back on all that yesterday.
And I think, well, that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. My take on him not being a leader was there was that VidCon where basically what happened was I think he got an in real life I think everyone got an in real life confrontation about what these people are like and who they are on the internet versus who they are in reality.
Oh,
Now,
that's
explain to you what I
important.
mean by
They
that.
got to be. They got
I
to
think
match.
Sargon of Akkad told you, like, Sargon of Akkad is our leader. You know, when you're talking on forums and you're talking on 4chan about Kekistan and Sargon of Akkad, and Sargon of Akkad is these amazing, you know, you forget, you know, he puts on that amazing image, like these amazing, you know, fan art photos of the famous Sargon of Akkad mask, and, you know, reclining in
the famous
this ancient Egyptian temple or this thing or that thing. You forget that he's a guy in a living space, in reality. You know what I mean? He's not Sargon of Akkad. You know what I mean? He's a guy.
Well, not only that,
he could be the son of Sargon of Akkad. You never know.
And that keep us cool.
And that's why I think this whole thing with him being a leader is what I think what happened was that in real life, people are revealed to say that, you know, the imaginary games that we play online, it's like, look, I mean, people could say whatever they want when they're LARPing or when they're playing a video game or whatever, or they're playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Listen,
but it's very, very embarrassing when mom flicks on the light to bring you more yoo-hoo, and you're sitting there going, by the flame of Elvis, I cast you out, demon. You know what I mean? That sounds hot when you and your friend.
Okay, now let's talk about that. So it sounds hot if your mom comes in on you in a dark room to bring you some yoo-hoo, and you're talking about what he just said, and I can't even repeat it. I've never gamed in my life. I mean, you know, electronically, like many people have. I have no clue of this experience. But you see, when I did one of my most recent shows, see, I busted him live. We were live streaming head to head. And I've asked him many times to stop, drop, and roll. Knock it off. Somebody's going to get hurt, and it ain't going to be me. So, anyhow, I just wanted to bring that up at this special moment in time to connect that. Because, see, I'm mom. Always have been. I'm the bitch. I'm the divine child. I'm the whore. I'm the virgin. Keep going. Because you're not just talking about me. You're talking about every woman. See, but that's right. You don't respect women. And everybody that you run with are people that are not very comfortable with women. They have tendencies that slide the other way. And you yourself admitted on your own video, not the same one where you pretended to pull your little penis out, but on another one, that what you did and what you still do, but we can't let the wife know, surely, is you like to game. And, you know, most of the games are angry. They're military. They'll kill the monster, kill, you know, the civilian, whoever. They use it to get soldiers ready for war. No big deal. But at the same time, watching angry porn, and like it's been exposed, see, guys like CW, man, This is the kind of guy that I always felt sorry for, and I've told this story before. It's 1983, and I'm getting out in the bars for the first time. I mean, like the bars that are happening with the music, you know. And they used to have these bachelor parties, a bunch of fucking punk uh, fraternity guys taking dude out for the big night before, you know, he's going to get married, get him drunked up. And the stripper they hire for him is a man in a dress, right? But dude doesn't know because he's fucked up. He's having fun with his friends. Everything's cool or chill or whatever. A lot of people like Coke, so it's really not even chill. You know, they're all jacked up like that. And some person that's impersonating something that is desired starts rubbing on them. Now, you see, from the time that happens, the rest of the people are already in that club because we know what you frat boys have to do to get in the frats. I mean, I'm not saying all frats, I'm just saying do the research, you know? And it's kind of like in government. See, once they've got you busted, like with a picture with your pants down around your ankles while somebody's servicing you or something, well, then they can keep you in that club, you see. And they use that as what they call blackmail. I know you've heard of it before, being a lawyer of your stature. Yeah, it's dirty. And everybody needs to disclose who they are. Because of people like you, we got a whole generation of teenagers that really, they should be holding hands. They should be going out to the movies. And they should be learning about what they believe love is. But oh no. See, because they're addicted to the game. I mean, they get addicted to porn so easy. I mean, my sweet son, you know, he hasn't even got to have a real girlfriend. But he's already having to feel guilty because he's watched porn on his iPhone or on his phone. And of course, his dad has that same problem. My ex, Dopey. So you see, the reason why my kid didn't have a phone for 9 months, even though my divorce agreement, which isn't worth the paper it's written on, the legal system, you lawyers, see, that would ensure me that per the divorce decree, 139, that I should be able to get a hold of my son any time that he is not in my custody. I am the custodial parent. So you see why it's so important to turn me into a rotten lion piece of shit in your minds, to destroy my entire life. See, that's not right, because I'm concerned about my son's life getting destroyed, not mine. I can handle myself. But you, on the other hand, see, that's why I had to come in on this one. They needed a woman to deal with it. And you know, that's the worst. You got to think about the movie Dick. Remember that one? And so that's the one where, you know, the reporters bust the Watergate thing, yakety yak. And you got the teenage girls that know who Deep Throat is. Remember? So at the end of the movie, of course, Will Ferrell and the little short guy, you know, they meet the girls in a garage. Here, wait, hang on. I was going to use these sometime tonight. This may as well be the time. Okay, so, see, the girls are in their sunglasses. They're incognito. And they're bringing the proof. They're bringing the paper to the two guys. You know, I think they're from the Washington Post, right? Oh, and remember, that's the paper that they always plant the information in, whether it's partially false or partially misleading or partially bullshit. And then it goes out to everybody from there because it's Washington Post, and surely they wouldn't fib to you. But In the meantime, the girls say, well, I mean, we were glad to help. And they say, well, you know, you girls are going to remain anonymous. We're not going to leak who you are. And they go, oh, that's really nice. That's to keep us safe, right? And they say, no. It's too embarrassing to admit it came from a teenage girl. It's even embarrassing when it comes from a 53-year-old woman. I mean, it's embarrassing no matter how it comes. Or if you can't get it up. You see, these are all problematic things. And sometimes, the more that you, what do they call it? There's a medical term, self-abuse. The more that you self-abuse yourself in a rough manner, it actually creates insanity. And so we can go back to a medical book from the turn of the 20th century, from the world's most renowned doctor. It has every disorder of the generative system: mental, physical, spiritual. So see, don't ever think that modern medicine didn't know. There's a book this fat and they can't deny it. And see, that's the great thing about playing the game with us. Part of my game pieces are that actual historical, documented evidence when good people were screaming out for centuries, saying, this is the truth, here's the proof, and this is what we've done, and these are the people that have given their lives for this. No different than the homeopathy people that, all of a sudden they're dropping dead like flies and they're all, killing themselves. I mean, you really believe that one? I know you don't. Okay. So I did have to say that, but we're at 1:39:46. Oh, that's really cool because this segment ended at 1:39:59 anyhow. And now all we have to do is finish this. It won't be that bad. I've got my friend Mary Jane in the house, and I'll just have a nice talk with her while you go ahead and make a boob out of yourself.
Friends are in the magic moment. When the light turns on and you're like, you know what I mean? You can catch yourself in the mirror and you can think to yourself, I am never going to do this again.
You're not.
This is a bad behavior pattern. And
You're
what
never
I think
going to
is
do it
going to
again.
happen with Sargon, I mean, we'll see
I'm
if he
gonna
wins
hold
or
you to
doesn't
it.
win. I mean, we'll actually see. But I mean, for a guy to say that he doesn't want to be a leader, I mean, what I think on it is this: leader of what?
Right, because you don't know about it. And if you don't know about it,
yesterday he pretty much said a leader of, he wants to oppose anti-white SJWs in a political sense, in a political party.
Right.
And
Right.
there's a live stream out
See,
there where
there's
basically
the trick the
Jim
Zenosh
making
did
fun
to
of him for doing this.
Right.
divide
Telling him if he continues down this road, it's going to end in
people
tears.
from people that shouldn't be
Well,
divided
I
in their
think
own
what- number
minds.
one is what I
So
think
it
is
couldn't
gonna
be
happen
real.
is I think that
White
number
people
one,
wouldn't do that to
I mean,
white
he
people.
might win or he might not win. And if he wins, he might have himself a problem with like a Donald Trump problem.
I'll
If
give
you're
you a problem.
Driven guy on YouTube.
I got your
you're a
fucking
personality
problem.
guy driven on reality TV. It might be a good idea for a variety of reasons to run for office,
Why?
but it might be a bad idea for a variety of reasons to win that office. Like, what's the notion that Sargon of Akkad is going to be able to control, his base? I mean, remember,
My dad would
was the
say
guy?
that
George-
CW talks like he got a
George
paper
Lincoln
asshole.
Rockwell or whatever.
And what that
The
means
first
is it
leader of
doesn't
American
hold wind.
Nazi
That's
party.
another thing
He
you'll
was
need to know in this game.
by one of his
I'll give
members,
you
killed by
certain
a follower who thought that he was not keeping the faith.
pieces of
by not
wisdom
saying
from
that,
my kin.
Members of the American Nazi Party with blonde hair and blue eyes were superior to members of the American Nazi Party with brown hair and brown eyes. Literally, that's how that guy went down. Malcolm X. Malcolm X was killed, not by some white dudes. He was killed by other black Muslims.
I better get
That's
my
how-
dad's
that's how it
glass
goes down.
cocked too.
So when you're playing with the anti-SJW and invoking that anti-white thing, it's going to be very interesting. I don't know with the amount of cutting up that he's done, with the amount of joking and jovial.
Oh, because surely you
he's
can't be
demonstrated,
funny and serious.
how he would win. But that's exactly what I would have said about Donald Trump, right? Just a couple
yeah.
years
You
ago.
know, he hasn't declared this or anything. He wants to lead a party movement, basically, which you could argue that he doesn't have to run to do that.
Yeah, so there you go.
But you have to say, also, you have to really look at it and say that this is what he's trying to do. Is he thinks it's pretty big, and Jim accused him of basically it's far nothing, egotistical.
Right.
He's basically in love
watching.
with himself here because
Don't
how
you
much money
think
does
I'm
he
not?
pull in? I mean, 100,000 a year, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. And when you compare that to just even a
1K.
small political action committee here in the United States, that's a drop in the bucket. The amount of fundraising you have to do to make a difference in politics is astronomical compared to a measly $100,000.
Measly.
Right. Well, the other thing is this: that what it might be just
The
an
whole
attempt
world
that
is
it
struggling to
keeps
pay their
the-
bills a week
keeps
late.
the leadership
And he
role
says
in the virtual
100
world.
grand is
But I think
measly.
that people need to understand is that they want him to be a leader, but he knows that he doesn't want to be a leader because the leader is the guy that's going to end up going down in flames.
The whole
and getting
planet's going down in
associated with
flames. Did you get the memo
activity,
yet?
The action or the group that goes poisonous.
Nobody wants
know
to
what I
do the
Yeah, I mean, he said
sacrifice that
fear
needs to be
criticism
made
is one of the biggest reasons
to
he
save Mother Earth and her
did
children.
not want to accept a role as a leader.
Yeah, and like I said, like what do the people expect him to lead? Because
Sit
here's
down,
the thing.
Suze.
So what ends up happening is that
Take
I
a
think
load off.
people get involved in these movements and they start. So it's like MAGA. Like there's a lot of people who go crazy on Twitter and online, and Facebook. It's Donald Trump supporters like MAGA this, go this, that, the other thing, and it's just this constant cheering and yoo-hooing. But there's not a lot of we're going to do this and we're going to do that and we're going to do the other thing to start working on our campaign for 2020 now. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of things actually moving in any sort of concrete or solution-oriented way. It's just a lot of.
I bet you
cheerleading.
like Oprah, don't
So
you,
it's the same thing
CW?
with Kekistan and Sarkin and Ricard.
Oh,
It looks
shit.
like.
You probably
It's like-
vote
it's
for
like-
her.
What is the biggest criticism?
Well, see, that's another problem. Is I think he wants to get away from the Kekistan thing.
Kekistan.
He wants
to be called a
Kekistan.
liberalist.
Kekistan.
Great liberalist. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Talk about
Like
What's a fascist?
individualism, basically fighting back against
Liberalist.
censorship online,
Nazi.
fighting back against
Love to
racism
throw those
under the
words
guise
around.
of anti-racism, that sort of thing.
Mm.
It's
Good
very
luck with
cringy. That was Medicker's whole thing, was that it's cringy and hilarious.
Cringy and hilarious.
That's what's going to happen. So what I think is that this is it's like circling around a tide pool, going faster and faster. But if there's no escape velocity,
Like
you're
a
eventually
toilet
just gonna
bowl,
teeter out and the whole
motherfucker.
thing is just going to come off the tracks. It's like a roller coaster. Eventually, you hit the end, and it all comes in.
I'm putting the head
sliding
back
down
on
into home,
Elvis, and he
then
is
the
gonna-
experience ends. I think
Mm.
that even
I
what
wouldn't
hear
wanna
you
be
before,
you.
but it's like the notion
For
that this
many
is going to
reasons.
go anywhere. It's like professional wrestling or a soap opera. Those things next to hammer. You'll be here next year talking about the same old shit. No one's running for office, and no one here would really be. I don't think appealing to people. So we'll see what actually happens. But I think that that's the sort of thing that people talk about and never do. It's like all these like gurus and influencers.
Talk
They
about
always
it
have
and
these,
never
like,
do it.
benevolent, humanistic
Right.
foundations and associations that they're
That's not
associated
me.
with, but those organizations never actually do anything. They talk
Yeah, I
about.
think he's
Hey,
riding the high from
Hook
his
me up
live
with an
events.
organization.
So
I'll show you what I can
He
do.
even talked about the energy in the room.
I got it all in a bag of chips, baby.
No, people are going crazy after the fact that it's basically that hitting number one trending sent those guys over the rainbow. I mean, you know what's so funny?
Well, and people keep saying number one trending, and that's a gross overstatement. It's
It
not
was like
number
that-
one trending. There's a world of a difference between the number one watch live stream at that actual moment and
Right.
being number one on the trending list. Because
There you
you only have 15,000 people watching.
Oh
Number one
my.
trending is going to have millions of people.
And if they each
Right,
tell
right,
10
right,
people, multiply that.
And there you go.
And then they tell 10
we'll
people.
see what happens. It's all very interesting. we'll see where it
Hey,
goes. But like,
you're right. It is interesting. Let me tell you something really quick, okay? Business 101. So you run a small business and someone comes in and you give them the best of you, the best service, the most compassion and respect, everything. You give them the whole shebang. Now, what they say is that person will go out and recommend, say me, Suze Pratt, the holistic stylist, to 3 people. Now, let's say I'm dealing with what I've been dealing with being targeted, and you have some coked up freak show, that's possibly psychopath or sociopath or bipolar or something, and they seek me out. I mean, they actually seek me out to do their hair color because I'm nationally accredited, board certified. And then here they come to get their hair done, right? But see, they have this mental problem and they've been traumatized so many times by having a shitty hairdresser that just took their money and gave them the song and dance and then talked shit on them when they went out the door, that they can't really believe that I could offer them anything different, even though I have national accreditation, even though I don't use peroxide and I use enzymes, and even though I don't use toxic ammonia-based hair color. See, I use a non-toxic alternative. So I do everything in my power to set things straight. And so if that person comes in and I do everything they want, perfect, on their hair, but let's say they think I'm a know-it-all, or that, I talk too much, or that I do not have the right to not be a slave for them. Because, see, a lot of people think if they pay you for a service that you're their whore. But that's not how it's ever been with your buddy Suze. They already get reasonable enough prices. I give them what I want to give them. So anyhow, see, this is one of those things to where if somebody gets the truth and it's really, really, really bad, they'll go out and tell 10 people because now they want to be part of the actual crew that helps contribute and fix these problems. So now we take something negative and we transmute it with the alchemy of love, you see. And now you got people telling their friends and their family. Next thing you know, numbers increase tenfold. And like you should know if you've done your research on me, I was the first one to talk about it. And of course, nobody listened because I'm nobody. But about the actual moment in time where the 100 monkey phenomena took effect. See, that's where we took off. And back then, they knew all we needed was 3.5% of the population to create a quantum shift in consciousness. Because, see, the hive mind has been at work here. You dirty, fucking, rotten, parasitic, Zanash, Zadakai, Zadakim, Zadak, whatever the fuck you are. You see, people like you create the hive mind because you talk such blibber babber shit and people just need to be stimulated. So a lot of sick individuals are stimulated by you and you know it. And that's why you want to run them with a fucking religion where you repeat verses over and over again. But see, you're already in hot water. I don't know if they mentioned it in this video or not. See, you're promoting Scientology too. And hey, I'm not here to tell anybody what dogmatic religion to practice, because I don't practice dogmatic religion. I'm spiritual. Oh, but remember, I'm crazy because I'm spiritual. Don't forget, you invited me on that show, Spirituality and Politics. We'll never forget it, Willie CW. And you used me and abused me and threw me out wet like I was your bitch. But see, you really didn't, because I went in knowing it. And then the game began. But you didn't think anybody knew about the game because nobody would hear the pumpkin that didn't have a face. Look who else has got his face back.
Like I said, what I think is this is that, and it's like after the apocalypse, then all the skeptics go crazy. They all went nuts. Pratt and T's response, I mean, everyone just went nuts, shooting themselves in the foot, asking for all this stuff. Yo, check this out, Dave. Let me ask you this. So I had this idea that I was going to go on today.
Oh, brilliant idea.
I was going to make a video that was going to be provocatively titled, and I was going to call the video
provocative.
Based Mama deserves proceeds from war ski live stream. And then it was going to say / open letter to Jeremy.
Base Mama deserves what? Go ahead, let's do it again. Base Mama.
Watch live stream at that actual moment and being number 1 on the trending list. Because you only had 15,000 people.
It was, but rather is the culmination of a group activity that involves all sorts of players, both the good guys, like the Gemeticers, and the heels, like the based mamas of Kilroy. And then I would use that as to try and generate hits, and then we would talk about Magic Gate briefly to say, hey, Jeremy, blah, 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 blah. I know you thought we were joking. You had no idea why in the world you would appear on this channel, but we're no joke, and
we're
this
no
is why.
joke.
And that would be the thing. What would you think about that approach? Would that be a wise approach?
I think that it would probably be an unwise approach, just because
Right, you never have any good ideas.
Probably like anything else, the message, and maybe even like this broadcast,
right?
The message to Jeremy would be buried at the end. And I'm not sure that he would see it.
You are so tricky.
Well,
we'll listen the whole way.
The argument as far as like, if you just want to troll people with the base mama title, that might work, you know.
Yeah, it might. It might work for you.
I don't know. The argument seems
we'll have
a little
to see
whack.
after this
There's another one I saw where I think his name is the Constitutionalist Libertarian, very small YouTuber. He lays out an argument that the people involved in Kraut's doxing server and Base Mama and Kilroy and the way they booted people out could be that whole enterprise could be prosecuted under the RICO statute.
RICO statute.
And I thought it was very out there. It was also a bit entertaining. The one that was especially for me was he claims that all the different Patreons, the fact that everybody's located in different states counts as interstate commerce. I'm not really sure that that's correct. Because I thought interstate commerce couldn't really count if it's online. But
what I think would end up happening is
I think
the whole thing would be too small potatoes for any prosecutor to want to get involved on the criminal
potatoes for any prosecutor to want to get involved with
civil damages. And I think you need somebody who would have civil damages, i.e. someone who I think the person that you'd look for to have any sort of real legal argument against the whole Kilroy organization would be anyone who contributed $10,000 or more, honestly. Because even if you contributed $5,000, you're going to go to a lawyer. Even if you're a lawyer yourself, you're still going to say, with filing fees, with trying to prosecute an action in Phoenix, Arizona, in a county that I don't know, in a state that I don't know.
One more thing that you guys need to know to play the game with us is see what this all goes back to. There's something out of the UK called the Computer Misuse Act. Now, over in the UK, you see, they actually hold people liable for hacking people's computers and putting backdoors in and messing with people. And then here in America, the bank is against you is going to say, well, you know, if you do any transactions overseas, we can't guarantee it because, see, the law of the sea doesn't apply if you go across the water. So, say here in America, ding dongs like these boys think they're free and easy, like they ain't got no panties on and it's their birthday. And so they can do naughty things on the computer. Well, come to find out, you're going to love this, CW, but you didn't get to know about it because only me and one other person knew, and it wasn't you. But anyhow, amazingly enough, Blowhole's information made its way back all the way over here. And somehow, some merry band of geniuses were able to connect the name of the person that's over here that has that PayPal account. So you see, that's how they were doing their little dirty work, like say in my experience. I don't know if that plays into your big video gaming saga or not, but you know, these are adult things that I'm referring to. So I'll just really hopefully let this finish out. I wish I could stay quiet, but there's so many important things, and if I don't say them immediately, I mean, how could you ever expect any human to track you? Because you said no human could track you. And I know thousands of people can attest to the fact that I'm a real girl. An uneducated no college, just a dopey hairdresser, and just a bitch talking shit, and none of her stuff made any difference because there was a fortune to be made with the intellectual property, so just destroy her. I know. It's a good thing I've been through a lot because most people wouldn't have survived it, would they? And see, there were odds and there were bets placed, and you talk about it in the video. It might be coming up. I should just shut up.
What's the value of it? Why would you don't spend $10,000 to try and get back $5? You know what I mean? You spend
maybe if you lived in Arizona, you could do a small
Exactly.
place court. Then you wouldn't have spent money on a hotel because you're.
Oh, wait, one more thing. I forgot to tell you. Did you know, even though they're telling you it was only $2 to $3 grand, because see, Mel and Biggie hit me for $3 grand to build a website that I never received. And that's when they put the back door in my computer. Because remember, I was computer illiterate and I trusted them and I had faith and I wanted to do the best work possible. So even though I'm already in debt and barely hanging on, I went out there and charged me up a brand new computer so I could do a good job for the cult of the Conscious Consumer Network, which, let's not forget, even though you mocked them, we'll see when shit got heavy and Z got on there in the summer. Do you remember being his guest? Or did they twist your arm and make you go? I mean, I've never got to ask you. So you appeared on CCN. There was a huge backlash from your own people because you said you'd never go hang out with those so-and-sos. And the next thing you know, you were selling out and there you were. And see, that's when you all got together and started playing Junior Wizards in the Zoom room with the free app that you abused for up to 9 hours at a time. And see, when you took over, I mean, let's really think about it. Now, you and Z, you remember Z, he hasn't been on since the Standing Rock thing when we busted him. But anyhow, you and Z both wanted to be the boss. You're both in the Zatakim or Zatakai or the Zanash or whatever the fuck you people do. Okay? And Z was running that room. You weren't first banana because your banana wasn't big enough. That was during that show you were making fun of people's beards. Actually, you were making fun of Og Telez on that particular show because he had the longest beard. Do you remember? You've also teased Shane Bales about his beard. And you don't even, gummit. Man, look, and I'm a licensed professional, okay? You don't even line your shit up, dude. They got these little clippers now that you could make that line all nice and clean instead of going, you dug your clipper straight into there. Do you see how stupid that looks? Okay. Maybe Great Clips did it. I don't know. Maybe your wife did it. You know, people talk about your haircut looks great. I told you, you can't run a clipper guard over a lumpy, bumpy, fat head. I'm sorry. I would tell it to anybody that asked me my opinion. And fortunately, you asked me your opinion when you violated my space manipulatively and on purpose and invited me in. That's where you made the mistake. Do I need to say anything else? Gee, your hair looks terrific. Oh, right, your beard looks like shit. And you always got the fucking shit in the cracks, and you got a yeast infection on your tongue. Your tongue is always white. That's called thrush. Babies get it. It's a chronic yeast infection. You've been talking about your health. You need to go to the health food store and get a yeast cleanse. It's not that embarrassing. It's okay. Everybody gets them. You really should start out with a colon cleanse because as someone that has done every major body cleanse, and I started this back in 2005. Oh yeah, I've done them all. So you always need to start out with a colon cleanse. And here's the reason why. Is because, you see, like back in the old days, people weren't as polluted. So the first organ that's shut down was always the liver. Remember cirrhosis of the liver? You don't even hear about that no more. Nothing but kidney problems and dialysis, right? So see, that's the shit that builds up in the body, and so the problems go higher and higher, you see. So you can have anywhere from 4 to 20 pounds of rotting fecal matter lodged in your small intestines. And it's normal, CW. I don't know if you know this, but it's normal to have at least one bowel movement a day. Now, see, some people, especially if they have hang-ups, they're either constipated or they got the runs. It's never normal. It can't be an easy bowel movement. You see, it has to be something that actually hurts instead of being something just like getting up every day and thanking God for another day of life. So you could lose 4 to 20 pounds if you did a colon cleanse. Now, I don't want you to get tripped out, but it's normal for people to have worms. And these days, people with physiques like yours, I mean, they call them beer bellies, but they're not. Some people have 7, 8, 9 foot tapeworms in them, which is why back in the day, when there was homeopathy, they actually had a hook that when they would expel the worm using natural remedies, like castor oil, like something that first does no harm. But oh no, got to take that away from people and give them the drugs. Give them the psychotronic drugs because they got worms itching at their asshole all night and they're having the nightmares. Okay? So Anyhow, you may pass worms. They won't be 7 foot because by then you're dead. See, back in the day, they knew that they'd come out 1 of 2 holes. One would be that place that you people shouldn't be playing with. And the other one is your fucking larynx, your pipes, your windpipes. So back in the day, of course, they wanted it to come out the booty hole because if it came out here, you were dead. And as the worm came out, because you don't want to pull on it, remember? Can you even imagine something wiggling out of your ass like this? And it's just hanging out on the floor? What are you going to do with it? It's biohazard, moving biohazard. Kind of like black goo on crack. Okay? So anyhow, they had this hook and it looked like a little Bo Peep hook. I have a picture of it in a medical book if you'd like me to get it for you. And this worm, go back to the snake charmers and the baskets and do. So the worm would curl itself around the hook. And then they'd take the hook outside and they'd put it in a burn pit. Look it up. This is the truth. But see, once we got indoor plumbing, they said we were so clean and modern that nobody got worms anymore. For anyone that's listening, tag the transhumanistic agenda to make somebody so tripped out about life, microcosm and macrocosm, as above, so below. It's really easy to get rid of worms and parasites, guys. If you can handle doing a colon cleanse. 3 months of your life. Not easy when you work for the man because, see, you got to ask Mother May I to get up and use the toilet. Do you know how many doctors and nurses that I've known personally that's needed to do a colon cleanse that can't? Because if they're in the middle of an operation and they got to take a dump, see, they can't leave Charlie on the table. If these things were dealt with like they were back in the old days, worms never grew to 7 foot because they would make sure people knew how to keep themselves clean. And oh yeah, you can get worms lodged between your muscles and your joints. Guess what they call that now in medical terms? Do you guys want to know? Arthritis. Have some of that. How's your arthritis anyhow? You look like you don't move around much. But it could just be a simple worm and parasite problem. Now, I have called that out in you already before. I can read them. And I also want to tag it for anyone that is playing the game with us. Never, ever forget when we go to connect the dots, my friend, that we can tag Oprah's character to the same parasites through when I did the remote viewing on Graceland. And isn't that weird? But it's really not, CW. Let me tell you all about it, okay? See, that Oprah. Now, she was into doing those reality shows. And after Mike Brown took his last breath on planet Earth this time here in Ferguson on August 8th, 2014, when I was coming online, well, see, there was this restaurant here that, kicked out the soul food. And no, I don't eat out, and I never went there. But anyhow, little did I know that Oprah gave him a bunch of blood money. And they put him through a reality show. And when they gave me this to watch, I mean, it was amazing how they infiltrate people with parasites. So in the beginning, they didn't have them on them half as much even 2/3 as much as from the first day Oprah met him. And I got to watch the whole thing. And I've read these parasites on you and others. And there are 2 people that know. Don't you ever forget it. I had to read them on Elvis, his own self. And just for the record, because we're playing the game to win, never forget the story. And my buddy Ann can give witness and testimony to this. We thought it would be a good idea when the call came that we needed to all focus. They wanted us to actually light a candle and meditate or pray because we were at a very dark time. And see, I had removed either what you would call a parasite or an implant. Oh, but you know, I know what it is now. So let me just tell you. When they fuck with you, they call it the white worm. So whether it's an implant or a parasite or an attack, I pulled one out of my, I know you don't like to talk about boobs, I'm sorry, but you know, there was the one I pulled out of here that we documented, but I know you don't believe me. It's okay. And then I had pulled one out right there. Okay. And you know what we did on camera? Nobody cares because nobody knows me, but I actually did a ceremony. You would have loved it. I didn't have a stitch of makeup on, and I was in my bathrobe. But see, it was more important to do that. You know, I have no pride or ego because I got nothing to lose, and I really do want to help. So blow me sideways if you don't believe that. But anyhow, I burned the parasite in the fireplace. We filmed the whole thing. And I actually asked that through the burning of that parasite, that it would loosen the parasites in the people that would come to hear this information. And obviously, you're not one of them. You probably like them.
I already lived there, so
And,
I would get a claim.
and there's so many moving pieces because when things move through PayPal and Patreon, you have to realize that the minute you do that, there's a legal complexity of a third party in the room who's a vested interest in making sure that this debate.
Oh, gosh. You know what the whole problem is, and everybody's talking about it? Is we've always had that third party involvement. So now you go ahead and bring your legal jargon in and talk about the third party and talk about why nothing can work because the system that you support is fucking retarded and dried up and dusty.
It goes nowhere. So what oftentimes you'll see is that there'll be some clause in some contract of adhesion, one of those things you just automatically click on, that usually says things like if there's a dispute between this party and this party, either we're not involved, or if there's a dispute between you and this party, you
What
agree that
big
the final
words,
resolution
lawyers
of our
use.
independent
I'm always so
you know,
impressed.
fact-finding board is, settles the issue. There's all sorts of things, but like I said,
Well, I
when it
heard one
comes down
thing
to
nobody
reality,
talked about, something no one I've heard talk about,
My
was
fucking
that when
shades
people
back on.
contributed to Kilroy and even purchased tickets on the Kilroy website, they said that Dave Cullen used a custom API to basically program their own. You know how you can do PayPal purchase? Like if you ever bought something and PayPal is what they use to process the transaction. He custom programmed the ticket sales into the website. Base Mama said to avoid the 18% or 1.8% PayPal fee. And to my knowledge, the only way to get around PayPal's PayPal fee is to send it as a gift or a donation.
Hey,
Like money to a friend.
hey, that's what CCN had us do. See, they didn't charge us a fee to broadcast because they're a non-for-profit. But they actually wanted to sign people to contracts, like people like me, to donate to them for a year instead of month by month. And see, when CCN came on, they didn't charge their journalists to broadcast. Doesn't cost any money to have a YouTube channel. CCN is a YouTube channel and a Facebook, and it's media. It's just like I'm whoever you say I am. You get it? You can believe I invite you into my home and into my life just so you can abuse me. Or you could believe that I do this because I actually care. I mean, take your choice, your pick.
You count as a donation. So all those tickets may actually have gone into PayPal's system as donations. And if you've ever tried to sell something online and they say they accept gift only,
Yeah.
you buy something on a forum, they'll say PayPal gift only.
Right.
Which they do that to avoid the fee, but you're not entitled to PayPal's guarantee in that case.
Brilliant.
So if you buy a good or service through that,
Hey, when I bought my Apple computer, I had a year's guarantee that if anything happened to my computer, anything at all, that it would be fixed for free. Now, I made a video. I'm sure you don't know because you don't care, but you see what happened. I could prove that I had been hacked. Well, you know, the first thing they tell you is you take it to where you bought it from. So we did that. And they call that the Geek Squad. You know, it's whether they work in the store or whether they come make a house call. See, I don't know how much you know about business. Well, then, of course, they couldn't fix it. And here's what needed to be fixed. Here's what still needs to be fixed. Let me document it for the world. My iMovie theater has not worked for over a year. Do the math. And I also have the pictures, proof documented in my files. The Team Viewer was left open. And there was only one person that had access to Team Viewer because it was the person that allegedly was helping me on the computer. And that would be your buddy Blowhole. You know, some people think that he's that other name, and it's amazing. He hasn't been on any of your live stream chats for a while. I'll think of his name. And you know I think that's Blowhole. And other people have asked you if it's Blowhole, and you swear it's not, and he swears it's not. But I'm going to have to say blow me sideways on it because you're both fucking Omar Corona. See, all you twisted people that use fake names and profiles, you make a bad name for humanity. So I believe Omar Corona is Biggie Boho, which isn't his real name either. Isn't his name Richard Vermaas, Vermaas? And hey, where did he work before he left the corporate world that he says fuck you to these days? Was it Bradstreet and Dunn? Oh, an investment firm, no kidding. I know, it's amazing. I bet you already knew that because you're a lawyer. But see, in the meantime, these people know how to scam. And they think they got a fucking special pass because they're better than everybody else. It's very embarrassing. Kind of like, you know, getting caught with your pants down and you got a little penis and it's so small you can't even grab it to jerk it off. I got a picture of something I need to show you, but that's not for tonight. I need to keep it concise. Yeah.
I mean, there's a chance that she'll be able to keep all the money, I think.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? I mean,
Who
the problem
knows?
is you get to keep all that money, but your name is now dirt. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Hey, my name's
It's
always
a
been
big
dirt.
price to
Well, that's
pay.
happened
I mean,
anyway.
are we
There's
having
rumor
a
that she put her
popularity
house up,
contest and you're
but
worried about what
she
people
said
think?
She actually
My name
got,
is dirt.
most probably used her house as collateral on a loan
Oh,
for
wow.
this. But she went to the trouble to set up an LLC to keep Kilroy separate from her own finances but then put her personal home up as collateral for a loan for the LLC.
Right.
So doesn't that tie them together? I mean,
But you know, the thing with the LLC is that the
I don't think it does tie anything together because I've always been a sole proprietorship. And do you know people harass me all day long about providing insurance for my employees? I mean, I don't even have a street location anymore. That was ripped away too through people like you and through Ferguson and the dirty politics down here. I fucking had it up to here. So you're on very, very thin ice.
the limited liability corporation, a lot of these corporate things, there's a concept called piercing the veil. The reason that you incorporate your business is to try and to shield your personal finances from basically.
Hey, did I mention the other day Blue Cross called and they woke me up. You don't want to wake me up in the morning when I've been up all night working. And she started with her spiel. Because surely this is someone calling about the hair emporium. And if they use a computer, which is 99% accurate in your eyes, they would see that that location was closed March 2015. But oh no. No. These are data collectors. And the more that you give in to these people, the more valuable that information is. So I made sure to let that bitch know. First things first. Sole proprietor from 1985 to 2015. I have been self-employed. You slimy dog. Since 1983. So, just always remember, I came online to bring the hair emporium into the computer age. And as a holistic stylist of over 10 years, hey, but really don't listen to me because see, I'm not perfect. I smoke. Why would I do all these good things for myself? Why would I live by my blood type, or why would I, practice right livelihood or want to help people if I'm so dirty rotten that I still smoke? Now here's what you need to know. If you're going to live for your blood type, what you're doing is counting your poisons. 2 out of 10 are allowed. The first round is counting the poisons in what you put in your body. That would be liquids as well as solids. Food, in legal terms. And in the meantime, keep in mind, you're probably one of them people that still believe in feeding your kids from the food pyramid group. Now, if you're an A blood type like me, if you can believe this or not, for real, a piece of red meat is as poison for me as a honeydew melon. Now, fortunately, I never liked honeydew melon, but you get the point. A lot of people think you need to be healthy. Eat your fruits and vegetables. Well, if you ran with smart people like me, see, like Robert Phoenix of 11th House, astrology, and much more. Oh, yeah. He follows his blood type profile. He's an O. I got money that you're an O too, by the way. And he knows that certain things are poison for him that people would say is good for him and that he should eat. So see, if you don't have your own mind at this point, or you're not smart enough to get Dr. Diadamo's book, Live Right for Your Blood Type, well, then you don't know what's poison and what's not. So after we work on 2 out of 10 poisons in what you eat or drink, then we go to your personal care products. That would be any toiletries, any body care products, any shampoos, conditioners, even what they call quasi drugs, which are things that are absorbed through your first filter organ, your skin, which is a mess. But that's because you're already compromised. It's okay. But anyhow, these things are poisons on you as well. Quasi drugs. Write it down if you don't know. Do some research. And of course, cosmetics. See, they don't even count like for dummies like you. Because you see, theoretically, the FDA says cosmetics are just for beautifying. And that even if they are poisonous, the FDA would not even want to deprive us of that enjoyment. Think about that. I think they're one of your group too, because there's no way in hell that they could respect human life and say that we're going to sell you a toxic product disguised as shampoo or a deodorant because you enjoy it so much. We don't have the right to take it away from you because you're free. Hey, this is a public service announcement for men. Whatever you do, don't use that Axe stuff. The Axe body care line, shampoo line. It's deadly. And you want to know why 12-year-old boys have breasts. It's not because they got a boob job. It's the hormones in the food. Like in the chicken. You know, chicken's a dirty, dirty thing to eat these days. I hope you don't eat a lot of chicken, CW. But yeah, they can grow boobs on guys with the hormones in the milk, and you know, the hormones would be in the cheese too. It's tragic. We need to really put an end to it, don't we? That's why we're playing the game.
Being able to be attached if anything happens with your company. So you're a company that needs to lease cars. You're gonna be a limousine company. So you purchase cars or whatever at a certain thing. So you say the month the company goes under, you can't make those payments. If you're an LLC and the company goes under, you basically say to the people that you have various subcontracts and contracts with, hey, what are you going to do? Whatever's money left in the pokey, but the corporation has gone under. But usually what happens, like if you're a person like Base Mama, even if you do an LLC, any company that's trying to do business with you is going to look at your LLC, the number of years that it's been business, and they're going to say to you, you want a loan? You're going to personally guarantee it.
Hey, wait. Do you know I never asked for a loan or anything? But see, down here in Ferguson, people come to do business that are in this little group of people like you to get the TIF money. Do you know what TIF money is, CW? TIF money is funds that they prostitute and diverge in many ways. They're supposed to be to enhance the community between the county and the civil level. Not civil. City. County and city lines. So say Ferguson, and this is something for you as a lawyer. Let me ask you a legal question, CW. I live in Ferguson, Missouri. Now the zip code, 63135. If you check it out, you'd find out that that's registered in St. Louis City. But Ferguson is a township listed in the county originally, even though they gave them a city zip code. Could this be part of that whole program, the destruction of St. Louis? Because you can't be both city and county at the same time. I mean, you got to be on the line. You know about walking the line. And never forget, the reason why I was targeted, blacklisted, told I'd never be able to open in this town is because a gal that did sexual favors at City Hall landed a big chunk of TIF money. And see, since the name of the business is the town, and then you put Style and Spa on it, behind it, that's the one-horse town, brother. I mean, I had white people coming from over an hour away. I was bringing business to town. But you know the party line they use, don't you? That I was coming to steal her business. But wait a second. I'm booked 3 months in advance and have over 400 clients. Oh, yeah, I am the queen of hair, which I know is hard to believe too, but it doesn't matter. It's all been verified, and I have all the background that you need. So, I've lost everything, which is why I have no fear. And in losing everything, see, don't think I'm crying, because I'm not. I knew the mystery behind it. Everything that I knew to be real as my reality had to be broken down and shattered in order for it to become the real me. And I was always the real me. You know, they make jokes. They say I was kind of asleep still, even a couple months ago. And I mean, I'm the most awake bitch I know. I drive my family crazy, my friends, my clients, my town, my community. Are you getting the point? Is everybody getting the point why you need to play the game with us? I mean, you think that these corporations are going to take care of you with trickle-down economics? I mean, wouldn't you think if everything's going to hit the wall and you got, let's say, about 60%, no matter where you go, unoccupied storefronts, unoccupied homes, why wouldn't you say, you know what? We fucking give up. We stop, drop, and roll. You let homeless people have those vacant houses. And don't you dare say for a minute, oh, well, they wouldn't be safe for them. You know what? They're not safe out on the streets. But you already know that. And then when they go missing, nobody knows, nobody cares, nobody asks. And you know where they wind up. And you mock it. Oh, that goes back to that thing about the priest and the church. I got something for you there, too. So you just hang on. I'm bringing one every day. And all my shit is verifiable. And don't forget, the priest and his little indiscretions, they'll become part of the playing card deck in this bingo game. Boof.
They're going to want an officer's guarantee on that thing. Personally, they're going to want it that there's something that they can actually attach to the so-called
A
collateral.
guarantee.
So that if,
Okay. Do you know that in plazas these days, they won't even entertain the fact of taking on a sole proprietor or an independent contractor? Because you're right, they want guarantees, and that's why they need LLCs. So let me break this down to anybody that hasn't run a business. Here's what they say to you. They say, well, what if you die? Hey, as long as time's been, if you pass away, well, guess what? You're not doing business no more, you dumbass. But if you're an LLC, see, somehow the money changes hands, or somebody writes something off, or sucks somebody's something. And it's no worries. Give people back their intellectual property before we crush you. And I'm not talking to CW. I'm talking about Sony Music Entertainment. You're gonna get crushed. It's already happening, hasn't it? 2013 Supreme Court ruling overrides the fact, we'll use Dire Straits. I love using Dire Straits, Brothers in Arms. My favorite song, Why Worry Now? Or how about Right Across the River to the Other Side? Dire Straits. Well, anyhow, Dire Straits is from Scotland. They came to the United States. They get signed. They get ripped off and mistreated. And of course, they don't get the majority of the money that they should either, do they now? Especially with the Sony thing where, you know, all of a sudden nobody could sell their fucking CDs except for Walmart. You're crying about Toys R Us. And you still got Walmart, fat ass. You still got some place to go. Because you know you got to save the penny. You don't support small business. Especially after your own small business, which would be your parents, kicked you out of the family law firm. So have some of that, blow me sideways, and shut me up so I can tell you to shut up.
That things go under, they've got some sort of coverage. So, I mean it's dangerous to speculate because, I mean, I don't know what happens or what's going to happen. And you also have to see how much money is actually made or what actually happens.
Hey,
because there's not a whole lot of transparency going on.
Wait a second. Now, try to forget whatever you need to do. See, they're monitoring me. They know my heart rate, my biorhythms. And even though I'm not happy with you, you're not draining my energy. I'm practicing what you hate more than women, which is called positive indifference. He can't stand that. He either wants you to be really pissed and fight him, or he wants you to adore him. And I don't do either. I mean, I'm really not even sweating. Now back in the old days, if I had to go through something like this, I would have been sweating. Kind of like Elvis. You know, they make a joke about Elvis being sweaty. Well, guess what, Teddy? Only one of them sweat. Profusely.
What I think, what you can notice is this, is that people are biting off more than they can chew. And part of the reason that Kilroy may have failed is because it might have been a kind of self-sabotage. Because people might have known, we don't all want to gather in one place, because if we do, we might see and understand that this is just another Libertarian Party convention. This is just another bunch of people that are going to sit around talking about grandstanding about. I mean, like, what was the most salient argument that Styx, X, and Hammer and Sargon of Akkad, and even that Logan guy had?
I thought it was Sargon of Akkad.
Richard Spencer's dream of a white ethno-state. It's a complete fantasy. Given the number of human beings on the planet Earth, the notion that any
Zadokite atheist.
That you can have people. No one brought this up, but they want to deport people. They want to deport citizens. You can't do that. Okay, let's say I want to deport you. Where am I going to send you? You think Mexico's going to take people that we just deport?
How about Escape from New York? That movie. We take a toxic area and we put all you SOBs in it.
They're not going to let you in unless you have a job.
You can all do business
perform there,
and jerk each other's chains
doesn't make any sense.
and play video games, but you can't interact with the rest of the people.
Together, because when you get together, you realize that's not going to happen, or where it actually is. Like libertarianism. There's a famous libertarian professor named Robert.
Libertarianism. We need to write it down.
Here's an interesting thought exercise that I recommend to anybody who's a libertarian, or is thinking about how to evaluate libertarian philosophy or thoughts. Watch any interview with Robert Bloch where he's talking, a lecture by Robert Bloch where he's talking by himself. A lecture by Robert Bloch talking about libertarianism where he's talking just himself, giving a lecture, where he's being interviewed by someone who's pro-libertarian values. He's going to come off as an extremely erudite, brilliant thinker, well-articulated, and his thoughts and his ideas are going to make a whole hell of a lot of sense. They may, if you're like me. Then after
Because everybody's like you.
gather your impressions
Mm.
about him solo and how his ideas
Just sit
sound in isolation. Look at a bunch of interviews that he did with Sam Cedar of the Majority Report. Google Sam Cedar versus Block. And it's crazy. The minute a libertarian has to debate anyone who's a non-libertarian, a lot of these things are shown for exactly what they are. Articles of faith, as divinely inspired as the return of Jesus.
Hey,
You know
tag
what I mean?
that.
But don't worry, that'll work out, because don't worry, that'll work out in prostitution and everybody likes to take ecstasy. It's just, it never does.
I never
You
took
know, well, it's like to
ecstasy.
define, Sargon was ridiculed for saying, trying to get Spencer to say the criteria for being white. And he's like, oh, this is such a horrible thing. This is ridiculous. But what I think Sargon was trying to do is get him to basically, he envisions a scenario. Let's say there's a war, the ethno-states at war, which it almost certainly would be at some point with another country. So you have to do rations. And I mean, they're only going to want the white people to get the good ration cards, right?
I know where this is going.
How do they figure out who is the true, when purity testing inevitably happens,
Right.
what is that criteria? And they acted like it was this crazy question and he
Heart
used
Math
the
Institute.
Supreme Court, Richard Spencer used the Supreme Court
Gaia navigation
that you'll know it
experiment.
when you see it. Like basically,
Right.
Dan
but how does
Winter.
that have any legal? I mean, other than that one case with TP, I don't understand how you could do that with
Verify.
And what people need to
Courtney
realize, is that
Brown.
when people talk about that argument.
Farsight Research
Who said
Institute.
it was one of them.
Was Justice O'Connor?
No, not even. It was a man. I know it was a man. It was an older gentleman.
What's his
This
name?
goes back to the life win type of decisions. Basically, when that statement is remembered, it's not remembered as a brilliant judicial teaching. It's an example of how stupid the system is, because at the end of the day, it's like trying to define what's rock music. You know what I mean? Like, what makes the Return to Forever with Chick Corea and Stanley Clark a jazz band and not a rock band?
Oh, you're playing Rock Band again? Damn, that sucks when you suck.
Music. Like, what makes rock music rock music? The notion that you're going to do with these bigger things, or that you're going to implement, people to simply implement these things on that scale is just ludicrous. And that was their point. But no one defines it. Like I say, I point out all the time.
Y'all,
So look,
one of my favorite bands, singers, is Meatloaf.
Right?
My love affair with him started in 1979 with the Rocky Horror Picture Show. You ought to check out his concert from Germany in 2010 and listen to what he says about Memphis, Tennessee's water and about Elvis. Oh, you think I don't listen to what they say? Or that I'm like going, ah!
I try. You know what I mean?
He even talked about grabbing a girl's boobie. Can you believe it? Great concert.
Do this in any kind of peaceful process.
Sorry.
Just seems completely ludicrous to me personally. I don't think that's the intention. I think that you say that, but I mean Spencer himself says that democracy is a fad. The Constitution is just a piece of paper. These things would not be done.
A lot of glasscocks were in the early government and were murdered because they didn't go with the
I think he
program.
means that in a legal sense. Like I'm not
Oh, sure.
threatening the federal government.
Well, it's the
But I
same thing
think
with
he is
what
in
I
a
violate.
way.
Well,
Sunday,
it's the same thing of like, believe you me, these people have no problem. But there's such, especially today, there's such a deep connection between people that were inspired by Anton LaVey and the Church of Satan. And
I never liked Anton LaVey or the Church of Satan. Never read any of it.
But so these are people that are totally willing to lie to the enemy because they think that that's the rules of the game.
Like you.
They believe, like in real politics, they believe that in Machiavellian solutions, the only problem.
So you're mocking the very people that you employ their tactics of war.
So when
Better tag
like,
that.
it's not going to be violent, of course we're not going to try to engage in any sort of violence. Are you kidding me? You desire a white ethnicity for all the reasons that
you better quit talking about the white people.
Is it ultimate just?
Hey, Whitey, did you know that Caucasian is not even the right word. I'll have to go back and pull up the right word. But Anyhow, those people you call white, see, they were the first people genocided out of Europe. The old country. The wars. You should brush up on your history. You probably don't come from America. I mean, you were probably born here, but if you take your lineage back, I'll bet you that your kind wasn't here when my kind got here. And my kind got here before 1643. So you work on your little family tree, and I'll keep working on mine. You should look up the Glasscocks, by the way. They say the legend is alive. We bleed. Real blood.
Justification for the violence against the Auslander and the impure defiler. You know what I mean?
The pure defiler. I like
It
it.
just doesn't
Who
make
is
any
it?
sense. But these are the people that are also going to tell you that the numbers of Jews that died in the Holocaust is vastly exaggerated, as if a smaller number would be more acceptable. You know what I mean? It's just the whole thing. But the great thing about being Richard Spencer is that you can fight for a white ethno state all day long. You can fight for a white ethno state as a career. Because the great thing that's going to happen is that you're never going to be called to task to actually lead.
You are the reason why my black brothers and sisters call white people crackers.
Or to actually put things into motion. You just spend the rest of your life profiteering and pamphleteering, proselytizing and talking, publishing books and speaking at events.
Well, that's pretty much what he says. He's not. That's why he says he's not threatening the government, because he doesn't envision this happening for a long time.
Ever. And the other thing is that, and the other thing is that
You don't
he's
even
got to be very
smoke.
careful because he has this.
I got better
that
respiratory
he's not trying to overthrow
than you
the
do.
government, because if you don't say that, you could be accused
What's
of
in your nose?
trying to overthrow the government, right?
What government?
But
Definitely illegal.
What
which is definitely
government?
illegal, you know what I mean? But hey, there
Which
you go.
arm are you
And
talking
yet-
about,
and yet it still
octopi?
goes on. It still jazz goes on. So listen, coming up at 1 o'clock.
No, it's coming up on 3
I gotta get my ass
o'clock.
back into the office. My first appointments are late.
But I
appointments, so
had to
the
do
opportunity
this.
to get
See,
on and do
I
a
wanted to
video,
bring
which
my
I thought was
friends
good and healthy. I wanted to
and the
get
people that
actual
play the
content
game
up
with
here.
us
I
the most
never liked it
up-to-date
with the last
current
video
information.
options, you know,
This happened, and I reported on it
too inside information. You know what I mean?
within
It's only relevant to a small portion of
12
regular
hours.
viewers. And even
That
at
is how
it's probably,
much
you know,
I am
stuff
playing
that's
the game to
better left
win.
for a a 2-line tweet. So I never
Because
liked
I
it with the
started
last video
before
or the
midnight.
video or whatever. So it's good to have some content.
You might want to write
part of
this
it,
down for your
because Lord knows
game
nobody
piece.
goes back and
Very
forth.
important day, January 10th, 2018.
I don't
Because
know.
I already know that we're engaging in this,
Well, you
and
need
it's
to get
been
it
going
done.
on.
I've told you a million times, if you don't set up a playlist, I mean,
and don't you
will
think
see
I'm
your
not ready
views
for this
change. So, like,
weekend?
you don't have to do a playlist of your whole channel,
I'm there.
but you definitely need to put up a couple of playlists
I have a couple of playlists.
on topics. You did do it?
I did.
Okay,
You
well, I'll have
did?
to look at it then.
He doesn't
Good.
get through the
Good
wild.
for you.
That's all the other people's channels.
Yeah, that's a good one to do.
Yep.
I
Get your
did that.
shit on other people's
You need to do
channels
the Commonwealth
because you're going to
channel.
get shut
I think I
down.
did that.
But you don't
And
think
then
they'll find you on other
record a good
people's
one.
channels?
Well, I haven't looked.
Especially
I
with
did do
bitches
it.
like
It's
me.
great.
I didn't do one.
Have you seen a spike in views on those playlists?
I know everywhere you go.
I never checked the views.
Oh, you never
I
check the
checked-
views?
I
You
identified
talk about it all the
The only time I
time.
check the views
You
is I look at the
cry
number, the
when you
last,
don't
like,
have
5
hundreds of
videos
views
I
on
did.
your
So
live
when I go to
stream.
do something new, I'll look and I'll see like what the last videos have done.
Did you
I
hear?
didn't do one yet? I thought I did. I gotta do one. I gotta do the Commonwealth Champion.
You got to do the
And
Commonwealth
I gotta
chanting
learn,
thing.
now that I've got all the videos backed up to a hard drive, what I want to do is
All your
just, I wanna
videos are
go
backed
back
up to
in
a hard
time
drive.
and
Good.
cut out good parts. Because I think that I'm not looking for like to game the algorithm, but I think I need some short videos too.
Keep in
'Cause I
mind,
feel like the
he's
long
gonna
videos
start
are overwhelming.
trying to
Yeah, I
hide
use like 10
evidence
minute.
by cutting videos.
And
And his dumbass doesn't know that they've already checked him out
that I never did.
and they've already got all
Like I
his
said,
shit.
I don't-
Yeah,
So,
you
hey,
have to just script it. And just
ding
read the
dong.
Script and then hit stop.
You could take all your videos down. They already got your number, dude. Every dirty, rotten thing that you've said in 2 years,
33 viewers.
They know the percentage of worthwhile content that you've brought. I mean, you really don't get it. You think this is all a joke. And it's not. And you're talking about freewheeling and connecting dots. Now, I dare anyone that watched this tonight to tell me that anything that is this synchronistic could be something that was free-wheeled. Let me tell you what it was. Let me turn you down because you're on my last nerve. Thank God we're done. Okay.
I believe so. I'm not sure, but I thought it was.
Fucking retarded. See, I lost that thought, but I'm tired. So I don't know how much I'm going to get graded down for that. I think my accuracy is pretty high, so I'm not going to worry too much. I think everybody's had enough tonight. Yeah, you work on creating solutions. First, work on your beard and your hygiene and your attitude. And then maybe one day, somebody might ask your opinion. But keep in mind, CW, my dad, the cop, he always told me something else about assholes. That assholes are like opinions. Everybody has one. Theory.
When it works.
Updates and theory.
Unsubscribe to you at some point.
Seriously, that's what I blame. When you're faced with dwindling subscribers, definitely don't want to look at the man in the mirror and say that it's anything to do with you or your production values. You absolutely want to say that it's the Google algorithm. Lord knows it couldn't possibly be. It couldn't possibly be a general
Tag Google.
That's inevitable.
There might be a righteous person there.
Money.
Could it
No one's
be?
gonna last forever.
Do you have the faith? Do you believe that there can be one righteous person in each place that can flip the course of destiny?
There you go. Anyway,
or do you believe they're all like him?
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. They don't give a fuck. Yeah, we can't watch another one. I mean, one of you is enough. And oh my gosh, do I have to go out on a joke for real? Okay, seriously. You think I'm kidding about an unkept man? There's the big crazy beard, you see. Here's the long, bad hair with the bad beard. And do you know this fool asked me if he should get a perm? And here's what I told him. The hair on the top of your head is too fragile for that. It's possible that it might puff the bottoms out and break off the top. And look, no perm. Puffy ends and that top. Hey, and I want you to know, CW did have a perm when he was growing his hair out. I don't know if you guys saw the videos. I'll have to pull one up for the game and we can play beauty shop. His hair was all fluffy and standing up, and he didn't know why. Now, if you don't know why your hair is sitting like you blow-dried it, curled it, or got a perm, then you're nuttier than a fruitcake. And with that, peace, love, and light from the Big Yellow House on the Third Cosmic Ray. Live from the ghetto. I'm the prophetic destiny of Missouri. Peace out.